crossover. Oh, killer crossover.
Just crossover.
It just crossed him over. Nastily. Another victim to the crossovers. Cross him up and sit him down.
Powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. What's up?
Hello.
Hey, how are we?
Our mics weren't on, were they? Are they just now on?
I turned yours on late.
Oh, okay. Crossover.
I hit the wrong.
We didn't say
Hit the
anything
wrong
bad
one.
if the mics were on. We had hot
just
mics.
said the B word and the F word and all the words.
It's 2026. It's fine.
Yeah, the B word. I'm really amazed at how the B word gets used these days. I feel uncomfortable about it still.
Yeah, you know what? I have noticed that I have said the B word on here, and you did not like it that one time.
It's just it just feels unnecessary.
You very are you.
We have women in our audience.
On the radio. You very much are family friendly. Happy.
It's the way you
I'm
gotta
a
be.
family-friendly person off the radio. I have a
Imagine
family.
hosting a morning show and hating women.
I don't. Whoa. Oh, okay. Wait. Sorry. I had to.
That one was for Connor.
I had to come back around. You're not a family friendly person off the air.
What do you mean?
Whoa.
I have a family, and I'm friendly, and I'm a person.
I wouldn't call you. You're friendly to others.
Of course,
But
I
not
am.
to you.
To me, no.
Which
not
of
to
these things would you like to dispute? He does have a family.
me. He does have a family.
He is friendly,
That's right.
Very.
and he is a person. You don't think he's friendly?
You don't think I'm
I mean,
a person?
I have a very unique relationship with you, and Peterson. You guys very much.
Three friendly individuals.
No, well, friendly to regular humans. I'm not a regular human. Okay.
I'm very friendly to you.
I think there are multiple times where you have been like, I can't believe you live the way that you live, or you're a
What
mess.
do you think you talk
or
about amongst
you,
friends?
You literally said you literally said to me the other day that I need to date a nurse because they need to tend to me.
No, I said that you dating a nurse could be good because they're caretakers, and you could use a caretaker.
There it is. That's not the friendliest thing.
Real
to
friends
say.
will tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear.
What I'm
Thank
saying,
you.
what I'm saying is
If I'm
that
just telling you empty platitudes that mean nothing, we're not friends.
platitudes. You and your
Yeah, Matt,
macho,
great
man.
job eating that hot dog. Nice. What a
I'm
great
not-
tweet.
I'm not asking. Well, see, I would appreciate that every once in a while. You know what? If I got a text message from Connor Happer saying, "Hey, great tweet," that would mean a lot.
I told
to
you
me.
that I liked your little press conference after Thanksgiving.
Yes,
told
did
you that.
say that. You did say that. You thought that was funny, and then you liked it even more when you found out that this was something I was doing for years before.
Way better.
Like I got to 1620.
Way better. Love bits.
Yeah,
does love
I got a lot of people. Some people are stupid, man. I
Interesting.
tweeted. I had a tweet
Sound like the
yesterday.
start to a comedy act.
Dude,
Some people are just stupid.
They're just
man.
stupid. So, like, I found a great bracket of brackets fully based on how close the arena is to Wendy's. Okay.
Mhm.
And if you know Lincoln, you know that there's a Wendy's on Q Street, which is about a mile away from Pinnacle Bank Arena. And Nebraska got knocked out in the second round, and Vanderbilt ended up winning the national championship based on Wendy's bracket.
Wow.
Okay. And I was like, this Wendy's for Vandy's got to be like in the state, like in the arena. Like that's crazy. So I tweeted out, wow, Nebraska would have gotten really far. You know, it was just a bad draw. Like I think Nebraska.
This is a bad draw.
Some people thought I was talking about the actual NCAA
Sure.
tournament.
Nobody
yeah.
can read.
Reading comprehension's at an
So
all-time
the
low.
amount of people that were like, you don't know ball and you're an idiot and what are you talking about?
Now, but
and I had to tweet at them being like, it's about a Wendy's, bro.
did you ever consider
You know,
that?
the last one was just asking what you were talking about.
When
When you said, "What are you talking about?" They're just asking what you're talking about.
some people are. The other people were like, you're an idiot.
Did you ever consider that they were doing a bit?
No, enough people were commenting that I
Is
was a
yelling at
dumbass.
local media members a bit or a lifestyle?
Then there was one
So it
guy.
depends on the tone, I guess.
There was one guy who had
There's
two
really only
different.
one tone.
There was one guy who had two different burners who made two different like two different mean comments at me.
Did you have a picture of a car in one of his?
No, this guy tweeted. He's Brad Meister. So look, this guy Brad Meister.
Way to dox him.
Well, that's his Twitter handle. I don't care.
Well, I shouted out, what's his name? Corn this morning for sending me a 3:00 in the morning tweet
I
about.
got some night tweets.
Yeah, I got night tweets.
Oh, here it is.
Ooh.
Here it is. Here it is. Brad Burkhead 34 said something mean. I won't say on the
Even
air.
more dogs.
Brad Burkhead 2 says another, like he had 2 different burners and he made 2 different comments on his 2 different burners about me. He goes, "Don't you belong in Chicago?" That was his tweet at me.
So personal.
Does that make you feel better that this guy has 2 accounts that he's used to talk to you?
A little bit. I'm so in his head. It's
You
incredible.
belong in a bigger market.
You belong in your hometown.
What an odd
What if
thing
he
to
has
say.
multiple personalities and he dislikes you in each personality?
That'd be awesome.
Pretty wild.
That'd be so sick. If I'm winning, I'm pissing people off and different when they got like different problems with themselves. That's great.
See, I actually don't like to make people mad. That's
That's why he's friendly.
That's what I find the most frustrating about this entire thing, because I always do make people mad, but that is never my intention. Well, I shouldn't say never. Sometimes
that is so false.
Sometimes it's a bit.
Definitely not never.
That is definitely not never.
I really try. That is not my personality to get under people's skin. That's not how I'm. That's not how I'm doing radio. That's not how I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
No, I believe that. That is not how I'm doing my job.
To the general,
to make people angry.
I agree with the statement. To the general public, your intention is not to make people angry.
Certainly not face to face.
When you said that you wanted, though, Nebraska to play in Buffalo and tip off at 9:00,
I
don't know if that.
I predicted that.
Okay.
I predicted that Nebraska would play in St. Louis on Friday at like 7:00 at night. I did not want that. I predicted it. Different. Thank you.
Like
theory debunked.
Some guy said, you don't know ball. Okay. And then another person commented, depends on what version of Andy we see. Could say the same for Nebraska. It's the same key factor, in my opinion. Whoever is playing the championship defense is going to make the deeper run. And somebody respond, unless Wendy's moves on campus, Nebraska will never be banned.
Yeah. Some people just don't know how to read.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Sometimes people want tip-off times so bad that they'll look at anything that they see and they'll say, nom, 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 nom. I love these tip-off times.
What about when it comes from an official
Let me
source?
send them out in a press release.
That was a good one.
Or
you warned everybody. You tweeted out at 10:00, follow this guy who was the director of communications to the NCAA, and then the fake tip-off time came out.
I did.
And you were like, what did I tell you? And then I quote tweeted it. I go, he told you.
Been around the block a little bit and know that was way too early for tip-off times to come out.
Thank God that it ended up being the same session on the same day. You know, like thank goodness.
What's going on, Josh?
So, I want to clarify. I didn't think Matt was lying. I did think he was exaggerating. He's not exaggerating.
No, people cannot read.
I'm literally reading the comments from the Wendy's bracket that
people are very mad at me for making a comment.
Are you reading the one from Matt or Wendy's bracket?
No, the one from Matt.
Okay.
The one of me quote tweeting being like, wow, I thought Nebraska would go farther. They just got a bad draw.
Now I'm going to see if I know any of these people.
They got really mad.
That's one of those things. I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, but there's someone that you know and you associate with in real life, and then you see online that they're just going after someone for a nonsensical thing.
Oh yeah.
And I never know how to I just pretty much pretend not to.
Sometimes those people go after your friends, and you're friends with both of those people, and you don't know what to do.
Yes.
Sometimes those people also are supposed to be a guest on your radio show.
Oh no.
And then
what did you say?
He was talking about sometimes you see your friends like going after people for nonsensical reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, sometimes those friends go after other friends. And then the friend that is doing that is a guest on your radio show too.
The friend going after or being gone after?
The going after guy.
Okay. Who's a going after guy?
Real quick, I do want to make a statement about you. You are a very friendly person. You're one of the better people that I know and
I'm
that
a great
I consider
guy.
myself friends with. But in particularly with me, you aren't like the friendliest. You treat me like a bigger brother treats a little brother. You're very critical of me. You're easy to make. You're quick to point out, some things at times. But I know if I need a shoulder, you're there. I know that if things got very desperate, Connor Happer would be there for me. But at the same
I wonder
time,
what that would look like.
my tire, I popped my tire on him in West Omaha. Can you please
I
come
would
out
just tell
here?
you to call AAA.
All right, Connor.
Like,
I don't know.
really
I don't know what
me,
compliment. I don't know how I would need you.
I'd just be like, come on, man.
Situation.
You got to be resourceful.
Like when you wanted to go out for a drink, and you're like, you could text him, but you also know that he's not going to.
I mean, this has happened before where we've gone out for drinks, and it was very therapeutic for me. You got to be resourceful. I would tell you, hey, okay, you popped a tire, whatever. Can you just take the compliment? Just don't be overanalyzing.
Is it a compliment?
Just say that you would be there.
I don't think taking a compliment is an issue for Happer.
No, it's not. I love that.
At it. I was thinking that in my head earlier.
Although I don't know what to say sometimes when people are actually genuinely saying like, "Hey, you do a great job," I'll be like,
"Is that?"
I don't know what you're watching.
People being genuine is hard to find. In
times. Maybe I'm too cynical.
Do you like listening to yourself back on the radio?
Yeah, when I feel like I did good.
Yeah. Okay, that's surprising to me. I feel you give off the vibes of someone who never would want to listen to themselves.
I don't ever want to rehear anything I've ever said.
Yeah, that doesn't jock me either.
I'm just trying to get better.
I'm like Denzel Washington. I'll
watch and listen to the broadcast.
Think of Denzel Washington when I see you.
I love.
I'm like, why did I say that?
I love rewatching my content.
Man on Fire. Denzel Washington. When I look at Matt,
I think my number one listen to podcast is Middays with Matt. That guy makes a lot of great points.
That I do not listen to myself the most. I will say that.
This guy's grinding tape.
Yeah.
I'm making jokes. My actually number one listen to podcast is Me and a Time.
Yeah, talk radio, I think at this point is more just like, yeah, I'm here talking on the radio, like mechanics, whatever. We got that figured out. The broadcast stuff, though, I'll listen to a lot.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Go back.
I guess watch. I don't have the experience.
Nobody watches the broadcast opens, but the broadcast opens
are so important.
They're so well thought of, and there's production value that goes into it. But nobody watches the broadcast opens.
I think
I'm raising my hand as part of.
Mike Schaefer doesn't watch the broadcast.
I watch the broadcast opens. I love broadcast opens. I think the broadcast opens at times make the broadcast.
You love a good scene setter.
I have like. Some like if these walls could talk game 6 of the 2016 NLCS like that is one of the best opens that I've ever seen.
Okay.
There was another open Steve Kerr. So the Warriors played the Knicks 2 nights ago and they had an open of, I guess this is a promo.
That's not what I'm talking about, but yeah.
Doc Emmerich in the 2011 Boston Vancouver
You don't have to
series.
Name your favorite broadcast opens.
Doc Emmerich's opens, though.
It's got to have a take.
Doc Emmerich's... Okay, never mind. I don't care. I'm moving on. I don't care. This doesn't matter to me anymore. It's not a point of contention.
It's just like, welcome to the stadium, everybody. This is what the game is. Here are the teams.
I agree.
And here are the things you need to watch out for.
I agree. They're great.
Nobody watches them anymore.
They're hard to do.
But I do remember Doc Emmerich's in the 2012 Stanley Cup Finals.
2011.
2011 Stanley Cup Finals game.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. They were great, right?
Game what?
All the games.
All the games.
They went to 7 that year.
Way to go, Doc.
They made a 30 for 30 about that series.
No kidding.
There were
How many 30 for 30s are there now, by the way?
More than 30.
30 times.
There's
30.
been more than 30 for a while. I kind of stopped paying attention to them.
Me too.
And I think I've lost some of my zeal for sports documentaries a little bit.
We got docked out.
Well, I mean, I think we've done.
There's a certain thing when he basically, once the people that are in the dock started taking full creative control of the dock, it became less interesting just on face.
Facts. When you get to tell your own story, the story is less interesting.
Plus, when they made the Made in America OJ
for the most part,
that pretty much set the bar so freaking high.
Yeah,
that one was awesome.
That
one was so awesome that there was another OJ related thing going on like at the exact same time, and that one was still like miles better than it. The Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah, the one on Netflix.
The show. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It was, but it was 2 pieces of OJ content.
Yeah.
Long series, documentaries, whatever.
Pandemic.
It was
2020.
Was it after that? A little into it, or was it before?
I thought it was in the sun, but maybe it was
I think it was a little.
Part 1 of OJ Made in America aired on June 11th, 2016.
Yeah, it was before that.
Whoa.
So that was great.
134.
Excellent.
What I think happened is the Cuba Gooding Jr. one came out, and people were watching that one, and that was taking it by storm. And then people reminded others, "Hey, 4 years ago, ESPN did a OJ.
Oh,
and
I
then
remember it that way.
I think the OJ Made in America, or not Made in America. What's the
OJ?
The People versus OJ Simpson is the television show that aired February to April of 2016.
That's what I said. They happened at the same time.
16?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was in COVID. Okay.
But
My bad.
they didn't run at the same time because the other one started right after the end of the TV show, basically.
Yeah.
A lot of OJ in 2016.
Big year of OJ, which would that have been 20 years post-trial?
Maybe.
Is that why we got
94
was the event.
Chase.
Yeah.
So 95 would have been the trial.
Was
right?
95 the trial? Yeah.
Speedy trial.
I mean, it's one of those things where Mike's right. As soon as we started allowing the people who the documentary was on to start painting their own picture, then it just because then you don't put anything negative in there anymore.
I just don't know that there's been a subject covered that has really grabbed me,
Well, the 2008 Florida teams, that could have been an all-time doc.
Okay, sure.
But like what happened is that they made it a puff piece. Like they made it like, Urban Meyer was a bad coach, but he pushed Gasol and we won some. And it turned into like he was getting heart palpitations and it was so tough on him. Like it wasn't about the actual like juicy stuff that people really wanted.
Was any of the Aaron Hernandez stuff good? I've skipped all of it.
I don't think it was
everything, the docs, the shows, all of it.
The show kept coming back to the point that
yes,
he was gay.
Right.
There was a comic amount of he was gay, guys. He was gay.
Okay.
There was a relatively recent 3-part series, I think, on him. I believe I watched that.
Yeah, there was.
I believe I watched.
Yeah. That sounds.
It's one of those things where it's just like we've done a lot of great topics already too with 30 for 30. Like we've done so many of them. Like we've covered so many teams and so many interesting stories where it's like, you kind of.
Some of it too is things to me are a little less interesting in the contemporary sense than they are when they're a little bit older.
I agree with that. So
there's that.
Well, I mean, what do you say when you see a preview for a 30 for 30 on the bottom of the screen? You go, they made a 30 for 30 about that?
Like we've kind of, I'm not saying we're scraping the bottom of the barrel, but we've definitely done some of the better topics of 30 for 30 already.
Topic alert.
That Nebraska football one's still on the cutting
room
floor.
But then why? Okay, but this is a great point. Like the rumor as to why that's not being released is because they didn't want the negative stuff to be out there about the things that happened with that team. And so it's like
a lot of positive stuff going on right now.
That's one of those things where it's like, well, if you're not going to allow the negative things to be a part of the documentary, even though that there are big parts of the story, then it's not a good documentary,
right,
in my opinion. If you're only documenting the good stuff, it's not a good documentary. There needs to be struggle. There needs to be controversy.
For the subjects of the documentary, you are entrusting people who you likely don't know with your story and identity and image and all that stuff. It's a very difficult thing to just hand over, I think. So,
but I think some of the better. Okay, the fact
that doesn't have anything to do whether it's good or bad. It's just like, here's my life, because that's what everyone thinks about you after they watch the documentary.
I think the Fab Five documentary, in part, does kind of benefit from Chris Webber not being a part of it, because I think the fact that Chris Webber didn't want to be a part of the Fab Five documentary communicated how much this still hurts him, right, and how big of a deal it still is to him that he doesn't want to talk about it, right, and so that in and of itself communicated, okay, Chris Webber isn't a part of it, but everybody else were canting and they were a little bit more open to talk about why this hurt him so much. Added to the elements of the Fab 533.
Probably shouldn't have called that timeout.
Will he discuss the timeout during the Nebraska Troy game?
No, he will not. There was a moment.
I really got the D team for
yeah,
it really.
Whoa, you got Andy Katz. He's the best.
He's got the voice of the Braves.
Here's the thing. I appreciate them giving us a really good sideline reporter.
Okay? Yeah, he's really good.
I like Andy Katz.
Interesting.
When you say a guy is great and I don't think it's whatever, I just go, I don't really like him.
Do 5 minutes on Fred Hoiberg's pacemaker.
I like Andy. Andy was walking around at the Big Ten tournament. He's kind of a shorter guy than I anticipated.
Andy does a great job.
Fred Hoiberg is grateful to be roaming the sidelines today because he almost died. I'm Andy Katz, CBS Sports.
That was more of a Rinaldi, but I liked it. I liked it.
Yeah,
He's
Rinaldi couldn't
entertained.
do anything without attempting to make you cry.
Uh-huh.
He's entertained audiences worldwide.
Yeah.
I'm Leslie Stahl.
Yeah, they got a crew. That's for sure. They got a crew.
They got the worst.
No, Chris
crew.
Webber will not talk about it. There was gonna.
It's the worst. Crew.
It's not a. I mean,
There
you
was a
see the other
moment
ones.
in a recent NCAA tournament where someone and Chris Webber was on the call, and someone either thought about calling a timeout that they didn't have, or did call it and it hurt them, or something like that. And there was this immediate like, oh my God, Chris Webber
Let's all look over here.
Chris Webber is here. I'm blanking on every detail of it, obviously, but I think there was something in that sphere.
I do remember that.
It would be wild to be someone that is a professional athlete that had an entire NBA career,
Hall of Fame
good
career.
player, and
Hall of
nearly made it to the NBA Finals if it wasn't for the NBA putting the Lakers in.
People
as
forget
everybody
about
knows.
the cheating of the Sacramento Kings.
No one
the
forgets.
single thing that you're most going to be known for, no matter what, is that mistake. Like on that stage, like that would be really tough. You know, like on a smaller degree, actually,
Yeah.
maybe larger.
Everybody who sees you in an airport, time out.
God, that would suck.
Yeah.
Like
That would
Bill
suck.
Buckner, like how many times have you been told, why didn't you just field the ball?
Mm-hmm.
But could you imagine what kind of like jerk jackwagon you'd have to be if you saw Chris Webber in an airport and you started doing the timeout signal at him? You would be such a jerk.
I
You
bet it
think I'm
happens
that much of
every
a jerk?
day.
If I saw Moises Alou, I'd go,
Oh my God, no, you wouldn't.
yeah, I would. Screw
What
that
if you
guy.
saw
No,
Steve Bartman?
Shake his hand, be like, hey, how's everything at Notre Dame College Prep? How's the baseball team?
Is that where Steve Bartman is?
I think he went to my high school.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
Do you
why
know
would
where
was-
he is right
he was
now?
coaching. No, I don't.
Okay.
He was coaching.
He came
the
back. He was
freshman-
on the lam for a while. He came back.
I think he was in Cleveland. Was the
Florida, I believe.
Well, rumors are flying everywhere.
I guess so. I guess so. Where's Steve Bartman today?
I mean, they did a 30 for 30 on this.
They
so.
did.
By the way, I
Worst
do want to
partner.
point everybody out for everyone's like, oh, Matt's not from Chicago. Matt's from Skokie. I talked to the people who were the Nebraska media people who came to the Big Ten tournament. Multiple of them were staying in Skokie for the Big Ten tournament, and some of them were staying in
Well,
Niles.
yeah, they're
So
staying
what-
outside of Chicago.
Yeah, what does that help you with?
It helps with practice.
I'm just saying, when you're traveling to Chicago and you're staying in my city, you know,
I don't think that helps your case at
I
all.
think it
I
helps
think
my
it
case
only
greatly.
enhances the other people.
So who would you be the biggest jerk to if you saw them in public?
Daniel
Jose
Murphy.
Mesa.
Daniel Murphy,
Screw that guy.
the second baseman of the Mets?
Yes. Ruin
What
my
would you
child.
what would you do to him?
I'd call him mean things. He's said some mean stuff in the past.
I love Daniel Murphy. He was,
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
He
I'm
famously
sure
made
you
it-
love Daniel Murphy. I'm sure you got a Colorado Rockies and Washington Nationals jersey.
No, he's
and
thinking
Mets
about when he had
jersey
a
of
really
Daniel
bad
Murphy.
error against the Royals in 2015.
Thank you, Mike.
Well, at least he was human against you guys. Against Gus, he hit like 7.
Oh,
home
he was
runs.
more than human. Him and
4
Lucas
games.
Duda, they were throwing that thing all around the place.
Lucas Duda's a name I haven't thought about.
Can't
in a
stand
while.
Daniel Murphy.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Wilmer Flores, he was chilling. In there.
I did not like Chris Pronger, and then as a 10-year-old kid, I met Chris Pronger, and I asked him how was it losing the 2010 Stanley Cup.
Whoa.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's cold.
yeah, and he's like, "Well, I won it in 2007," and I was like, "Oh, good for you," but he lost in 2010, you loser.
I bet if
And
I
went
saw
to his
Dan
bunk.
Orlovsky, I'd be like, "You ran out of that end zone, man.
You
You
cheated on
didn't
me."
even know." That would.
That was on my 21st birthday.
That's awesome.
Genuinely on my 21st birthday.
That's
Pretty
awesome.
dope.
The Vikings-Lions played. Jared Allen was the one chasing him. He stepped out of the back. I
Mm-hmm.
turned 21 that day.
He didn't
Pretty
even
sure I
know.
watched this entire thing at a Red Robin.
He went like 4 more steps. He had no idea.
21st birthday. You went to Red Robin, huh?
Dude,
my
hey.
parents had come to town. We went
Okay,
to lunch,
okay.
and then I went out with my friends at Buffalo Wild Wings, of course. to
Red
start.
Robin and Buffalo Wild
Yeah, it was a big
Wings.
day for me.
Red Robin was hot in about 2008, 9.
It was.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Oh yeah.
Did that
And
happen-
bottomless steak fries.
Look, I'm not gonna lie to you. I could go to Red Robin right now and have a great time.
I haven't been in probably 15 years.
Let's do a show
We're
from
going
Red
to
Robin.
Red Robin after the show someday.
I'm down.
I would so go.
You can't.
Onion
You gotta
Ring
do your
Tower.
show.
Onion Ring Tower. We can do it after. Onion ring tower would be great.
I've never done the onion ring tower.
Oh my God, we do the onion ring tower every time. You get the hot ranch and you get the regular ranch. The Red Robin Ranch is number one on my Matt McMaster Ranch Power rankings.
One of the first dates with my wife was at Red Robin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Would you get the Southwest chicken salad?
I don't remember at all.
Do the Southwest chicken salad with that little burger seasoning. It's like Rebecca Romijn. My goodness.
Okay, you gotta have to pronounce that.
Romaine, like the lettuce.
Yeah.
Which could be in the salad.
Which is like a salad.
God.
Wait. You just screwed that whole thing up so bad.
You should set up a
thanks, Connor.
Where you go
with Rebecca
Romijn.
But you just had a salad joke and you said Rebecca Romijn. It would have been perfect to say Rebecca Romaine. Like the lettuce the salad.
My dad goes to Red Lobster every 5 years with my mom on their anniversary because that's where their first date was.
Yeah.
It's at Red Lobster.
It's a good spot.
And he wears the same shirt he wore when they went on the date
That's pretty
together.
cute.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Does it look like that one guy's shirt?
He wore an embroidered Bugs Bunny T-shirt the first time on their
That's
first
awesome.
date. And they got it. And then apparently,
Does it still fit?
Yeah.
Or does it keep rebuying the same shirt?
Well, that would be very Mike McMaster if he kept buying things, for no reason.
Shout out to your dad, man, with his blue Nebraska shirt.
I know.
He was. Have you seen this?
No.
It is a look.
my dad wears nice things, and so I got him a Spider quarter zip, and it's blue, but it has a Nebraska N on it.
It does.
And my dad,
I don't even know where he found that.
My dad wasn't hammered, but he wasn't sober, and he was walking the concourses of the United Center and saw, I guess, what would be considered one of his heroes in Pat Fitzgerald, and
so
ran down Coach Fitzgerald.
Pat looked like he was having a drink ski too. There you go, Josh. Take a look.
So that's my dad and Pat. That's my dad and Pat Fitzgerald taking a picture together.
That's recent.
Yeah,
that was literally 3 days ago.
That's a Michigan State year for
my dad. My dad saw him and he goes, "Coach Fitz."
See, look at Fitz hiding the drink there, like Scott Frost hiding a spitter at Big Ten Media Days circa 2018.
So they talked for like 5 minutes apparently. Like his dad,
Fitzgerald would be a very approachable.
Oh, super. So dad and him started talking about the 95 Rose Bowl, and then they apparently my dad brought up Clayton Thorson, and then they started talking about that, and then Fitz's son was in the same grade as my sister, and so
these guys are bros now.
They knew his son and my sister knew each other, and so they talked about that.
No kidding.
So basically, this ends with your dad and Fitz going to Red Lobster, right?
I mean, they almost got each other's numbers. It was a great conversation from what my dad says.
Almost.
I was like, what are you trying to take him out on a date? This is ridiculous.
Small world, man. Small world. You never know.
He is called Coach Boyfriend by a segment of the Nebraska family.
Yeah. A segment or just a very jealous host in Lincoln?
There's probably like at least 6 people that utilize it.
Are you one of them?
No, I'm not. I like Pat Fitzgerald.
I love Pat Fitzgerald. I think he's a hell of a ball coach. I think Michigan
I don't know
State,
what happened at the end of his tenure at Northwestern.
Yeah,
I do. It was documented pretty well.
Let me rephrase this. I don't know how he allowed what happened at the end of his tenure at Northwestern.
There you go.
I do know the details of what happened.
No comment.
Weird.
What? He should have gotten fired.
I think you got to do big Wildcat overreaction time coming up next year.
People overestimate how much I care about.
Underestimate how much you care about Northwestern.
They overestimate about how much I care about Northwestern. It's so annoying when people.
I've never thought pass that Preston Stone has thrown for that program.
Okay, that was embarrassing. He did play better at the end of the year, though. Preston.
Bro, you are the only person who is in my life who has ever talked about Nick Martinelli.
Oh, dude, but he averaged 22 points a game for 2 straight seasons. He led the Big Ten in scoring 2 straight years.
You're having conversations about Nick Martinelli, but people overestimate how much he cares.
And some people wanted a Nick Martinelli scouting report. I gave it to him. The guy has 7 spots and where he can score, and he's not athletic or taller or better at any skill than anybody else, but yet he worms his way to those spots and makes the shots. He's a great basketball player.
Overestimate.
He's one of the top 5 Northwestern Wildcats of all time.
Yeah, name all 5 of them.
Boo Buie.
He's got to be 1 through 4.
John Cherna.
Derek Pardon.
Do you remember, you probably don't remember this. His first game, they broke his red shirt to play at Nebraska.
Yeah, I remember.
And he puts up 28 points on Nick Fuller, who Nebraska has guarding.
I was excited about Nick Fuller for a moment. I was like, damn, this is
fleeting moment.
This dude's a shooter. I like
Billy McKinney. He played in the 80s. Billy McKinney, John Cherna, Bryant McIntosh, Boo Booey, Nick Martinelli. Your top 5 Northwestern Wildcats.
So 3 dudes in the last 10 years.
Yeah, because they're the only dudes who've gone to the NCAA tournament.
Northwestern came here and played Creighton. I want to say 11 or 12 or something like that. It was maybe it was even earlier than that. And
they got their butts whooped probably.
No. It was a pretty good game, and I remember being excited because it was pre-Creighton being in the Big East.
Oh,
I was pretty excited that they were playing a high major team.
Sure.
I was like, anyone with a name that I've heard of, this is amazing.
Yeah.
They had a dude who was pretty good.
Trey Demps probably.
No, it's pre that guy.
It was pre-Trey Demps. Trey Demps was good. He's probably in the top 10, but it's not great. All right, we got to go, but real quick, before we go.
People overestimate he's got a top 10 Northwestern basketball players of all time.
Real quick. You talked about this a couple weeks ago, and I've always failed to bring it up. You, I think, brought up the fact that they're going to win this game, and it's going to be really great before they win the Nebraska basketball, winning the first NCAA tournament game. But you're like, I also am kind of prepared for them to win it and then go to the next one where it's okay, hey, we did it. And I think that was one of the most accurate things I've heard about this whole saga of winning the first game, because I think a lot of people are really focused on winning the first game and then partying afterwards. But you being we're just going to quickly move on after it is so accurate, because I've went through that already with Northwestern because they never had gone to the NCAA tournament.
Every March Madness ever, you get the reminder of that
idiot kid
who's just crying his eyes out about a foul that was
it was not a foul. It was Zach Collins. It was Zach Collins putting his hand through the rim, and they didn't call a goaltender. And they were on a run.
Drew Crawford, that was the guy.
But you're right. Northwestern won that game in 2016, and then immediately I was just all right, great. They got to beat Zaga now. It was great that they beat Vanderbilt and they beat Luke Cornett. You're all right, that was dope, and then you move on. I think you kind of preparing Nebraska fans for feeling like that is one of the best things I've heard you say. So congrats to you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Kudos to that. That was a great point.
Way to say it, Schaefer.
I say good things.
That's my compliment to Schaefer. My compliment to Happer is that.
See how he just took that compliment?
I don't know. I like your sweater today. That's the crossover, powered by Everlevel Concrete Repair in Omaha at everlevelconcrete.com. A great episode of Middays with Matt is up next.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people. Whose car are we going to take?
I have a lot of things I want to get off my chest.
That's an absolutely horse crap call. Make room for Daddy. But they are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook.
Chicago is.
This is Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt, live and rolling here. Why are you looking at the camera like that? I mean, what are you doing?
Sometimes you just got to let people know with a stare.
The teams that are playing today and the teams that aren't playing today are the ones that are winning today, and the teams that aren't playing today aren't the teams that are winning today. I mean, boom. That's my really bad job, Matt. You're listening to Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone. Buff Scorpion. This is by far the worst intro 1620 has ever had. What?
Oh, there have been worse intros, trust me.
Way worse. There have been shows that just didn't have intros.
You ever heard the I Have an Opinion intro?
I have an opinion now. Probably made up in it, yeah. That one?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack in the Chat. Bad take. It's a great intro. Can I be real with you? I don't remember what the Gary and Matt intro was at all.
Oh, no.
Like, if you put a gun to my head of like, hey, hum out the intro to Gary and Matt, I could not. I literally could not tell you. This is a true intro. Kevin goes, we need to bring that back. I have an opinion. We lost into the divorce. We didn't have a good enough lawyer.
That's right.
I also didn't want to do it. I'm sorry. I have an opinion. It's just Middays with Matt. That's all it is. I mean, that's just this show.
All right. Yeah, sure. Okay.
Charles goes, I have an opinion was the best intro of the history of the station. I don't know if it's the best in the history of the station.
I mean, you're hearing it more and more.
I still think Sipple's intro made by Stibbs, Basnett's intro rapped by Sipple, written by Stibbs. Have you ever had a show that you loved to join, held it close to your heart like a commemorative coin? Let me tell you something about my story. I used to join the best show in the U.S. nation. And you say, Chris is just a friend. And you say, Chris is just a friend. Oh, baby, you. That was Sipple. That was great. We need to make Sipple's intro. We are making an intro.
What was the kind of music he requested? Or it was
Motown. We need to make a Motown.
Right.
Ain't no Sipple high enough.
Okay.
Do something like that. John Walker has one in the bin right now. Lauren Michelson has one in the bin right now.
Let's get these on the air.
I know. We got to get vocals. I can't sing. You want me to sing the intros?
You were just singing them.
It doesn't mean they were good.
That's not important.
I know. You should listen to Joey Colbert's intros.
He's so committed.
But that's what makes Joey's intro. All right. He's in the news a lot today, by the way. Because
Joey is in the news a lot?
Because Big Cat has been crapping all over Ken Rosenthal. Have you seen this?
I have. He said the thing that you said 2 weeks ago. And is catching no flack for it. Yet Matt McMaster says it 2 weeks ago, and everybody's like, "Oh no, Ken's a good guy. We need to be nice to little people." Oh,
he's a jackwagon. All right, Ken Rosenthal is the Napoleon of sideline broadcasters. All right, he's a tiny little man who can't get over himself that he's tiny, and he takes himself way too seriously. And he's one of those jackass baseball writers who thinks he's bigger than the game. He's got to protect the integrity of the game. I've been sick of Ken Rosenthal forever. And then he wrote some things about the Padres like last year that was absolutely ridiculous. And the Padres, rightfully so, didn't want to talk to him. Anyway, Big Cat, it's something I live my life by. He one time said on Barstool, he's like, you see what that guy's doing? What that guy's doing is weird. All right. What he does is weird. But here's the thing. That guy's passionate about it. Like, he loves what he does. Like, he has pride in what he does. And so even though it's kind of weird, the fact that he has pride in it and he's passionate about it, it makes him cool. It makes what he's doing is cool. Have pride in what you do. You know, put a little pride into your work. Put a little pride into the things in your hobbies and whatnot. Okay. So that's what we do here. Gotta put a little We put pride into things. And Joey Colbert puts pride and puts passion and puts effort into his intros. Are they sung terribly? Absolutely. Are they great because Joey gives all of his effort to it? Yes. Both things can be true. We got to I want to make an intro. I don't know who's going to get it, but like Man on the Run. That song? Someone's getting that intro. So John Walker's is in the bin. Lauren Michelson's in the bin. Don't worry about it. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about on this show. Not in terms of intros. We are 2 days away from the official start of the NCAA tournament, the non-play-in games.
Okay, so you don't count today and tomorrow. Okay,
so I understand.
That's fine if you don't.
I understand that the NCAA tournament counts these games as NCAA tournament wins.
Sure.
I get that. I acknowledge that. I don't care. I don't really count them.
I just wanted to know where we stand as a show.
It's
on the play-in games.
Okay, what is it called? You just said it's a play-in.
I believe
game.
Technically it's called the first four.
Okay, stop it. It's a play-in.
Colloquially,
you're playing into what? What are you playing into? You're playing into the NCAA tournament. If you're playing into the tournament, are you in the tournament? No, you're not. Okay, you qualified to play your way in. So technically, to me, the tournament really starts on Thursday, but we have the play-in games today. It's like the NBA. The NBA has play-in games. Those aren't playoff games. Those are play-in games. Those have their own separate records and statistics.
Hey, let's let teams that are hovering around 500 feel like they matter for a night.
Well, don't say that, Josh Johnson, because I have stats for you right here to tell you that you're wrong, that these teams actually do have a shot.
Oh, I meant the NBA play-in.
Oh, yeah, screw that. Those guys are losers.
Hey, we went 40 and 42. Can we play in the postseason too?
We want to earn the right to get our asses kicked by the Oklahoma City Thunder. So Baymount goes, Matt drinking the play-in Kool-Aid. I'm not drinking the play-in Kool-Aid. I'm giving you facts. We have those facts there. We want to give a shout out. We're not just gonna be all excited for one day and then forget about you. 97.7 The Zone, Sports Talk and Rock. How we doing today? Great to talk to you guys once again and talk to you guys for the foreseeable future. Here on Middays with Matt, this is something that you missed in the first 3 episodes of the show. We love FOIAs. We love the Freedom of Information Act. Okay. We love finding people who submit FOIAs, who get FOIAs, and then give them to us. We have a banger of a FOIA today.
Oh,
we have an awesome FOIA.
This is days ahead of FOIA Friday. Well, we're not on the air Friday.
We're not on the air Friday, so we'll call it a FOIA Tuesday, where we have gotten the operating cost, the operating cost of certain teams in the NCAA for basketball. Okay, we are seeing what the operating budgets are for Indiana University, for Tennessee, for Arizona, for Texas, Connecticut, Arkansas, Michigan State, Kentucky, Louisville, Kansas, Illinois, Alabama, Florida State, Michigan, Missouri. Nebraska's operating cost is on the FOIA. Washington, Wisconsin, Madison, Memphis, Virginia, Iowa State, Georgia. We have the FOIAs. We know exactly how much all of these teams across the country are spending from an operating cost perspective, an operating budget perspective on their basketball teams. And how well have they done this season? And we talked about this, Josh Johnson, a couple of weeks ago. What is the cost per win? Who is leading the country in cost per win this season? We have it in a FOIA. We got it, baby. So we are going to talk about that today. I cannot wait. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. We're going to expose some teams, and we're also just going to curtail it all the way back to coaching matters. Coaching matters in college basketball more than anything, and you can spend as much money as you want, and you can get these great NBA draft picks and these, top prospects and these high school players, and you can go and get Coleman Hawkins and Hunter Dickinson and AJ Storr and all the, PJ Haggerty and all these guys. But you know what? At the end of the day, if you can't build a culture, if you can't build a foundation, if you can't set it, and you can't be a good coach and have your guys working 5 as 1, you're not going to do anything in college basketball. You're just not. And I think that there are way too many teams in college basketball who are operating their programs like NBA franchises, where they're way too focused on, hey, we need superstar talent, and not focused enough about like, hey, this is how we actually build a team. This is how we actually build a program. So we'll talk about the FOIA. We'll talk about the WBC. Mission accomplished, baby. Venezuela won an electric game yesterday against Italy, taking on the USA later tonight. Going to be an electric atmosphere.
Ronnie looks back to 100%, guys. I'm very excited.
It is. He also looks happy. He looks so happy.
He does. I'm really happy.
I haven't seen Ronnie this happy in a while. So
well, his knees are holding up.
That is good. Well, we hope they continue to do that. So Venezuela takes on the USA. I have some observations just based on the WBC in general. We have some betting updates. I'll give you some betting trends in the NCAA tournament from what we're looking on early. USC and Matt Leinart kind of had a tiff. I'm on Team Leinart. We'll talk about that later in the show. Fred Hoiberg talked yesterday about Troy basketball. We got a little bit more scouting on Troy basketball that we'll touch on. We are supposed to, or we advertised yesterday that we are going to have the head coach of Troy, Scott Frost.
Good get, Matt. I have some questions for that man.
Scott Cross. Scott Cross, the head coach of Troy basketball on the show. I would have loved to have mega advertised it on Twitter today. Unfortunately, we can't because we don't know if we're going to have him on today or tomorrow right now. So we got to figure that out. When we do, for sure, find out when we will have Scott Cross on.
You're saying this is not cowardice. He's not.
No, this is not cowardice. This is just their flight left a little bit earlier than they anticipated. We were supposed to have him on at 1:30. He's landing at 1 o'clock. So we kind of have to figure it out. Yeah, we got to figure it out. We also are going to talk about the first four today. And in the past, Josh Hodson, I would just pick the play-in game willy-nilly and be like, oh, who cares? And then I would have them lose in the first round. Okay? I think a lot of people do this because I think a lot of people look at the first four and they look at the teams of the play and they go, oh, they're barely in the tournament. They're technically the worst teams in the tournament. There's no way that they can end up winning a game or making a deep run at the tourney. History tells us otherwise. Also, too, I do want it. A great statement yesterday because I listen to Happer and Schaefer every day. Everybody's freaking out about these lines and about how the lines have never been bigger for 13 versus 4s and 14 versus, or 14 versus 3s. And, oh my God, the space between the 12 and the 5s. And, this is going to be I was listening to Doster and Goodman yesterday of the Field of 68. Yes, some people would. I listen to people that I like, some podcasters that some people don't really, they have strong opinions on them. But anyway, they told me, oh, it's a chalky tournament. It's going to be a really chalky tournament. That's why we have 1-2, 1-2, 1-3, 1-2 for our Elite Eight. That's why I have 4 1 seeds and 1 2 seeds for my Final Four. That's not how it works. And Connor Happer yesterday made a great point. He was like, look, you can tell me what the spreads are. You can tell me that we've never had a bigger gap. You can tell me that, all this stuff. Upsets are still going to happen. And that still occurs playing teams. So we'll talk about the history of the play and the recent history of the play, and actually really kind of communicates to you that you probably should put an 11 seed, one of the 11 seeds in the round of 32. If you're going off. Whoa! Give it to me.
Very quickly, Matt, we have to go to break. And during the break, you have homework. Okay. Because this just in from the Twitter account at The Masters. Ever heard of it?
Whoa.
Taste of the Masters hosting kits are now available at tasteofthemasters.com.
Why did I get my email?
I don't know. This broke 2 minutes ago.
I should get my email.
Yeah.
Where's my email?
I don't know.
Where's my email, Hodson?
Azalea cocktail kit.
I know. That's the one I think we're getting.
That looks delicious.
Dang it, Hodson. I signed up for the email to get this so I could have first dibs. What's going on? All right, we're going to break this down coming up next. This is going to be great. We're also going to break down Troy. We're also going to break down some other games. Been reading some NCAA March Madness previews. It's been great. I paid another $5 for a subscription today.
Whoa. What's her name?
Stop. That was an old life. Anyway, I I think I am running up to like 40 subscriptions right now. It is a lot. I had to cancel a couple.
Good.
My bank account couldn't handle it anymore. My rent's going up in June.
Oh, no.
I want to be able to pay for my home. So I had to cancel some subscriptions. But yeah, the Taste from the Masters kit is out. They have a new one. Okay. We're going to break. I'm going to go ahead. You're right. Do some homework. Tell you about the Taste of the Masters. Tell you about Ben in the NCAA tournament. Give you some breakdowns. Talk about Troy. We're talking to Michael Severe at 11:30. We're talking to Tim Verghese at 12:20. Call into the Prairie Flower Casino hotline, 42951-1620. Equitable Bank inbox. Equitable Bank, they take banking personally. Matt at 1620 The Zone. Josh O at 1620 The Zone. Don't forget to tweet at us at The Zone Twitter feed, which is powered by Liquid Trucking. Great show ahead of you. Middays Matt on 97.7 The Zone and 1620 The Zone.
Make room for daddy!
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, we have a lot to cover here. We have a lot to get.
Okay.
A lot is going on. Would you like to start with golf, basketball, or football? Josh, I will give you the pick. Door number 1, door number 2, door number 3.
Football.
Let's start with football. Jalen Waddle is going to the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos definitely need a wide receiver. It's been a position that kind of has gone under the radar for them in terms of the fact that they haven't had a true number 1 in a while. Now, granted, they've had some pretty good wide receivers over the last couple of years. Cortland Sutton has been fine. Marvin Mims Jr. has been fine. Jerry Jeudy, for that 1 year was good. And then, overall, he never really was the dude you thought he'd become, but still, a solid player. But ever since Demaryius Thomas, may he rest in peace, they haven't had that true number 1 guy. And, that's very important to have if you're a team with a young quarterback like Denver is with Bo Nix. And so they've made a trade today to go and get a guy who really bursted onto the scene in his first season in Miami. And I knew this in particularly well because I drafted him in a fantasy football league, in a dynasty league. And I thought, wow, this guy's going to be great forever. And that's Jalen Waddle. He had 1,000 yards in his very first season, nearly 1,400 yards in 2022. In 2023, kind of fell off towards the back half of the season, had 1,000 yards. And then 2024, didn't have a great year, 744 yards and 2 touchdowns. And then this season, definitely, a bounce back and closer to form in terms of his first 3 years, but still under 1,000 yards and 16 games played for Jalen Waddle. Granted, he had Quinn Ewers throwing him the ball at the end of the season in Miami. And so you think that you put him with a better quarterback, in theory, his production will go higher. But he is going to the Denver Broncos. I like the Denver Broncos acquiring Jalen Waddle for their team and for their offense and for their outlook, trying to develop Bo Nix into one of the more elite quarterbacks in the league. They give up a lot for him, though. So Miami is sending Jalen Waddle and a 4th-round pick in exchange for Denver's 1st-round pick, 3rd-round pick, and 4th-round picks, all in this year's draft. I think this is a hell of a haul for Miami. I think it's a really good trade for them. I think that we get reminded a lot in NFL free agency that free agency is a supplement, but it's not it's not the place where you go and you build a championship roster, right? Free agency is where you take your roster from being good and you make it great, right? I think free agency is where you go ahead and you supplement all of the great draft picks that you've made and the great trades that you made. Let's talk about the team that a lot of people are saying won free agency, in the LA Rams. Traded for Trent McDuffie, re-signed their guys in the secondary, got another corner. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, like they got McDuffie and they made their secondary better and all that type of stuff like that. But what are the other guys that are on their roster? How do they come to be? Well, they traded for Matthew Stafford. They drafted Puka Nacua. And they drafted Jared Verse. And they went ahead and they drafted Blake Corum. They drafted Kyron Williams. And they acquired, Devontae Adams with free agency. So it's one of those things where it's like, if you're going to build great rosters in the NFL and you're eventually going to compete at the top of the heap in the NFL, how do you do it? You do it through the draft. Well, sometimes the draft in the NFL can turn into a crapshoot. And you just need as many shots in the barrel as you possibly can get. And this is a trade in a guy where Jalen Waddle, where Miami really isn't at a point in their franchise right now where I think they needed a premier wide receiver. I mean, they got a lot of things they got to figure out on that roster. So for them to get the haul that they got, Jalen Waddle, impressive stuff.
Helps the tank and the rebuild that follows.
Now, granted, to Denver's credit, they're not trading the 14th overall pick in the draft. This is the 30th overall pick in the 3rd round, 30th overall pick in the 4th round, 30th overall pick in the 1st round. So still, not necessarily the highest draft picks, the highest quality draft picks, but still 3 more. Technically 2 more because Miami's exchanging 4th round picks. So 2 more shots at getting impact players from Miami in the draft. So I think it's a good trade for them. I think it's a fine trade for Denver. Fine. I call it fine. I don't call it great. I think it's fine. I think it's really good. You know, they're going for it. They were one game away from being in the Super Bowl last year. I mean, they were honestly make an argument they were a Bo Nix injury away from being in the Super Bowl. Bo Nix doesn't get hurt in the game against Buffalo on one of the last plays of the game. They probably end up, not probably, I think more than likely, they end up beating New England and having a more competitive Super Bowl than the Patriots did. I still think Seattle ends up winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, it's one of those things where I think it's a fun move for Denver. It's a really good move for Miami. Miami knows they're not going to win this year. Miami knows that they're not going to compete at the top of the AFC this year. Miami knows that if they're going to win, it's going to be in the future. Hey, Jalen Waddle, fine player. Probably was going to produce more for them because they don't have Tyreek Hill on the roster this season, which is probably part of the reason they got they got a first-round pick out of it. I think you're definitely able to promote Jalen Waddle a little bit more, being like, hey, this is a guy, he caught 900 yards for us, but probably end up catching 1,100 yards for us next season because he's going to be the number one target. Good stuff. Let's talk about the Masters. Taste of the Masters has come out. You'll laugh at this, Josh Hodson.
Okay.
I got the Taste of the Masters big kit last year. I got the large hosting kit that serves 12 to 14 people. Okay, it comes with pork barbecue, pimento cheese, and egg salad. You have to buy your own bread, but then it also comes with some really good potato chips, popcorn, chocolate chip cookies, a bunch of coasters, and like 24 cups. My roommate and I got this large hosting kit. Our cups are the 2025 Masters cups. Like, we have not purchased more cups since this time last year. When we drink out of a cup, we are drinking out of a 2025 Masters cup. Like, that's just so this is the Taste of the Masters means a lot to us because it's literally how we furnish our kitchen. I will not be buying the large hosting kit. $189 this year, by the way. That's a lot. Now, I believe this is new, by the way. I don't think they've had this. The Azalea cocktail kit. Okay. It's $99. It comes with 6 cups. It comes with the Azalea non-alcoholic mix. So they are providing you the mix in which you are to make their famous Azalea cocktail. Now, you are not paying $99 for 6 cups and the Azalea cocktail mix and they give you the nice little the mixers with the Masters logo on the top of it. It's pretty sick.
The stir sticks.
Yeah, the stir sticks, but it's Masters stir sticks. Mm-hmm. Here's what you're paying $99 for. They're giving you a master shaker, like a green cocktail shaker of the Masters. It's awesome. It is a sick shaker. And you get a double shot, the
jigger.
We'll call it that. That you pour, you can put a double, you can put a single. You get that thing, the shot glass, if you will, and it's got the Masters logo on it. That's what you're paying $99 for. I think this is worth it. I think I'm going to purchase this because we don't have a cocktail shaker and we don't have a shot glass, and we always need more. At this point, I'm kind of just committed to getting as many Masters cups as possible. I just want my cabinets to have the 2025 Masters cups, the 2026 Masters cups, the 2027 Masters cups. Like, at this point, just make it a collection. Win and row. So I would say that now I would not get the large hosting kit. Would you get the classic kit, which is also $99, and it just has pimento cheese and cups and chips? I'm going to be real with you. The pimento cheese was overrated.
I was talking to somebody during the last break, and I said, it's fun to do once. It's fun to say you did it. Some of the stuff, it's cool to have, but the value isn't there. This bar stuff's pretty cool. I'm trying to find out what that cocktail shaker's made out of. If it's cheap plastic.
Oh, good point.
Tin or, like a sturdy metal. I'm going to guess it's made of plastic.
I might have to buy it on my own this year. Because last year I split it with somebody.
Okay.
I don't think I'm gonna. Dang it, Josh!
What?
I have to be responsible with my money.
Okay.
But this is so cool.
Plat Cat with a recommendation: just bet on the Masters winner and buy it all in
Plat
2027.
Cat, is rolling in dough right now.
Oh, he had a golf bet this weekend.
That was like plus 45,000.
That
and
hit.
And he hit another one, like the outright winner. And he did not reveal how much he bet on it. But knowing PC, he's probably going to have to pay taxes on what he won.
Plat Cat ain't putting down $2 bets.
No, he ain't. He's not like Matt. That is the embarrassing thing, by the way, because I text people who gamble, and they gamble way more than I do, and I'll text them my winners, but then I have to show them my $7 bets. Like I have to show them how much scratch I'm putting down, and it's a little embarrassing when you're like, "Yeah, bro, I hit it." And you have like an $8 bet on the game, and they're betting like $130. You know,
Jack Mitchell getting way into a first 4 game tonight because he's got 50 cents riding on the game.
Dog of the day yesterday did hit.
Oh, interesting.
The Mammoth.
You're hearing it more and more.
PC goes, taxes are involved.
Cheers.
Hey, dinner's on Plat Cat. So people are commenting on my what I'm wearing today. Shout out to you for wearing green.
Yeah, you're wearing a black Guinness polo.
I am. I look like I work at the Guinness.
Your
brewery.
hair is done today.
It is.
I've noticed.
The plan is to go straight out to celebrate Patty's Day after the show today.
That explains a lot.
But we're trying to figure out if I have to interview the head coach of Troy basketball.
You will want to do that.
So, I don't think.
Do it drunk.
No, I'm not going to do it drunk.
He won't know.
Why are you
He
recommending
lives in
that?
Alabama.
You're my program director.
Because it's hilarious.
You're my boss.
Might lead to some good content that would go viral.
Do you think that I only provide good content when I'm intoxicated?
The odds
The
improve.
fact that you had to think about that is embarrassing. No, I would not be. I would love to do a drunk show. I'm a good drunk. People do. We shouldn't be talking about this.
Okay.
Jack in the YouTube chat knows.
Hi, Jack.
I'm not a bad drunk. We'll just put it that way. I'm not bad. I'm very happy. I get happy. I'm a very happy guy.
Okay.
And then I just go home. I love an Irish goodbye. An Irish goodbye is the way to live life. Okay? You don't have to tell people. Why do people care? You know what I'm saying? I didn't care so much. Not a big deal. Just go home. You don't want to be here anymore? Just go home. Call an Uber. Get to bed. I don't want to keep you out any longer. People got really mad at me because I Irish goodbye graduation. I just went home to Chicago.
Okay, that's a little different.
Yeah, that was a little much.
Yeah.
Jack in the comments goes, he does Irish goodbye. It annoys everyone. Hey, it's St. Patty's Day. It's a tradition unlike any other. Just like the Masters. I don't know. I don't think it's worth it to buy the taste of the Masters. But I do like them getting creative. They could have rested on their laurels, and they could have just said, hey, we're going to release the same thing over and over again. They decided to do something different. Are you going to get the Mixie kit? Are you going to get the Azalea Mixie kit if you find out if it's good material?
I have a wife and a child. I'm not spending $100 on
you're
a cocktail
grown
kit.
Man.
Yeah, I'm a grown man. I have a cocktail kit. It's not Masters branded.
You do. You are a part of a whiskey club.
I do.
That whiskey you gave me was pretty great. Let's talk about the first 4 games tonight.
Okay.
NC State plays Texas, and then the 16 seeds play each other. I don't care. Let's just talk about NC State. Sorry, guys. They're going to lose.
Dickie V on the call.
Guys, I don't care.
Charles Barkley on the call tonight.
Guys, I don't give a damn about UNBC and St. Petersburg.
No.
Congratulations to them. It's probably not, it's just one of those things where it's just like, if it happens, it happens. It's cool. I don't think it really affects my bracket all that much. Right? If I end up picking one of the 1 seeds, go all the way to the Final Four, go to the national championship, and they end up losing the first round, it wasn't meant to be anyway. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't meant to win the bracket. So the first 4 play today, and I think it's and this is the type of mentality that I had for quite a while, and I think it's a mentality that a lot of people have when they're picking their brackets and they're picking who's going to go far in the NCAA tournament. And that's, hey, first 4, they were one of the last at-large teams in. Typically, it's teams that struggled really early on at the beginning of the season, or it's teams that really limped to the end at the end of the season. I'm going to pick this game, and then I'm probably, I'll just have them lose in the first round, or I won't have them go too far. Tell you right now, since 2021, 5 play-in teams have gone on to the second round. Okay? Five since 2021, 5 different play-in teams have gone on to win a game in the NCAA tournament, to win a game in the round of 64. So if you're in a competitive bracket, right? If a competitive bracket, the points matter. Every little point matters. And you definitely don't want to shut yourself out and just be like, oh, 11 seed. They're going to lose to a 6 seed right away. And I also want to remind people, we've had a trend recently of not just first 4 teams making it to the round of 32. 2024, NC State went to the Final Four. 2021, UCLA went to the Final Four. 2021, Syracuse went to the Sweet 16. All right. Since 2011, 13 playing teams have won a game in the NCAA tournament. You also got to go back to 2013 and 2016. 2013, LaSalle went to the Sweet 16. 2014, Tennessee went to the Sweet 16. This is a game, and these are games where, yeah, are these the highest quality of teams? No, they're not. Are these teams that more than likely are going to make deep runs into the NCAA tournament? Probably not. Should you completely ignore them and just be like, oh, I'm going to have them lose the first round? No, do a little research. I don't hate SMU potentially making a juicy little run in this NCAA tournament. I think a lot of people are going to pick NC State tonight and potentially pick NC State to win in the first round. They would play BYU.
Didn't they just do this?
Yes.
With
2024, the big guy.
I'm sorry, the big guy. Yeah.
I
don't know his name. I'm sorry. He was a big guy.
I'm not doing this for NC State. Because they are wildly inconsistent. They lost their last 4 games of ACC play. They lost to Notre Dame. They lost to Virginia and Duke by 29 points. They've been wildly inconsistent this year. One game they go ahead and they beat North Carolina. Another game they go ahead and they lose by 41 points to Louisville. They're not going to make a DJ Burns run in 2024. Okay, they're not. I'm sorry. Instead, I like SMU. The Mustangs lost 5 of the last 6 games. BJ Edwards is back though. They are a really good 3-point shooting team. They got a guy named Boopy Miller. Are you going to bet against a guy named Boopy Miller?
I saw he was on the all-name team.
Incredible stuff.
For this tournament.
This is a Mustangs team where they haven't had their best player one of the best players for the last 5 games. 1-5 in their last 6. Didn't go well in the ACC tournament. It's one of those things, though. They got their guy back, and I love the makeup of the team in terms of they can hit 3-point shots, and they can get really hot, and they can make a run. So if I'm picking a team from the first 4 in to potentially make it to the Sweet 16, Elite 8, the Final Four, give me SMU. Though I am going to bet against them. I'm going to probably take Miami of Ohio plus 7.5 because against the spread this year as an underdog, the Redhawks are 4-0. So I think it's going to be a close game. I think Miami of Ohio is a solid team, but I think SMU pulls it out. Coming up next, we have one of our best guests of the week every single Tuesday. Now moving from 11:30 to 11:20, we're going to have Michael Severe of the Jet Award Foundation. Coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays with Matt here on 1620 The Zone and 97.7 The Zone in Central Nebraska. Having some fun today. We've done daily model trade. We've talked about the taste of the Masters, did a little first four. Now we get to talk to our very good friend, the executive director of the Jet Award Foundation, whose event is coming up on April 2nd. So congratulations to Michael Severe, who's putting a lot of work on vacation. You're all the way out in Costa Rica. I see the tan is coming in. Very nice. A little sunburn there for Mr. Severe. How are you, man?
No sun. I've never sunburned.
I can see the redness on your face.
I just get dark.
There's red on your face. What do you mean you don't sunburn? There's red on your face.
It's not red. It's just me getting dark. I just get dark.
It's not.
I don't burn.
It's red. Yes, you're burning. What are you talking
it's because there's no light in here that I can figure out the way, because it's so bright outside. I've got everything shut down. It's just not. Look at me. I just get dark. That's all it is. I'm just getting dark. I'm not red. I'm not red. I'm naturally red. I'm a red person. That's my color. I'm a red guy.
That's not true. I've never looked at you and been like, he's red.
So you don't understand. So when black people are light skinned, they call them red, right? I'm just gonna help you out with that. Or yellow. So the light ones are called yellow, based off of Yellow Boy from a very famous group a long time ago. And then the other ones are red because of the look of like Indian. So that's where that comes from.
I did know that. I did know that.
Just making sure you understood that. Yeah. So I have some questions for you before we get started.
Yeah, go ahead.
One, I sent you a text asking you if Jacob Bigelow is still angry with me. You didn't respond.
I didn't.
That's one.
I think that's a response in and of itself, Michael.
So the answer is yes, he still hates me. Two, do you know the name of the place where the guy who started Wendy's worked before he had a falling out with the ownership group and moved on to the restaurant Wendy's?
No.
KFC. That's true. He worked for KFC.
I did not know that.
And do you know what's in a Frosty?
Ice cream.
That's a great call.
What? The original spices? What? Mustard powder and
75% vanilla, 25% chocolate. That's how they get the unique taste and color.
I like that.
Yeah. Also, the first major restaurant to carry Mr. Pibb.
Okay. So I knew we were going to have this conversation. I think you tweeted this at me in order for me, because you know me very well. You are very good at knowing the things I know, and you are very good at knowing the things that I don't know. Okay. And one of the things that I did not know, which is why I think you tweeted this, was a baked potato at Wendy's. This was a thing that I had no idea.
Yes. I mean, it's when I was working originally. I don't know if you know this or not, but my first job in TV was $6.50 an hour is what I earned.
Okay.
So much so that I had Section 8 housing in Monroe, Louisiana, and West Monroe, actually. I got a 2-bedroom because I was so broke. Anyway, one of the things you'd go get was the 99-cent baked potato, 99 cents chili, and you had a salad bar back then. I don't know if you know this. They had a salad bar.
I did know about the salad bar. I recently found out about the salad bar, though, like a year ago.
It was a 3-part salad bar. One side was for pasta and sauces. Another one was regular salad. In the middle was a taco bar. So what you could do is you could order the potato and the chili and then go dress it at the regular salad bar. So extra cheese, whatever you wanted from the salad bar, you could put on there. And that was a meal. I'd eat that for a day. That was my one meal for the day when I had no money. I would go to Wendy's and get that. Yeah.
There's a lot of broadcasters out there that have the I didn't have no money meal that they've shared with me. I guess mine is I get paper coupons in my mailbox for Subway, and I get 2 footlongs for $13. And so I'll cut them out with scissors.
Yeah, I didn't have that kind of money. I wasn't rolling like that, Matt McMaster. I couldn't spend that much. I just told you a meal that cost less than $3.
24 inches of sandwiches for $13 is not.
Well, first of all, none of those are ever 12. If you believe that's 12 inches, we're gonna have to sell you something.
I don't see 12 inches a lot, so I don't.
That's not 12 inches.
That's measurement.
So also we had CC's Pizza back then, and their special was if you came between 3 and 6, it was $2.99 for all you could eat pizza.
Okay.
And my wife and I, then girlfriend, would go and we'd have change, and we would get the CC's Pizza for $2.99 all you could eat.
You got to understand, though, that we grew up in 2 completely different times.
Oh, yeah.
Because my generation harkens back to the time when Chipotle was $7 for a bowl. But you tell anybody $7 for a bowl, your generation goes, that's still a lot of money. That's insane, $7.
Yeah. What is it now? I have no idea.
It's $9.50 for a chicken and about $10.70 for steak. It's kind of where you're about. The quality of Chipotle has gone down though drastically since its peak, which I would say its peak was around 2017, 2018.
I went to Vegas in they've been married 10 years. So I went there in 2015, 2014, and walked from where we were staying all the way down to the Bellagio, because across the street was I had never had Chipotle yet. We didn't have it in Omaha. I'd never had. So we walked there and got the giant burrito and then sat in front of the Bellagio fountains and ate a giant burrito. It was delicious.
Yeah.
I thought it at the time was better than Qdoba because that was the only one I'd ever had. I hadn't had Chipotle at the time. But I know my wife and kids love Qdoba. They go there all the time.
Qdoba is awesome.
They love that. They go all the time. Yeah.
So there's a Qdoba on Nebraska's campus.
Really?
Over right by the Union. It's not in the Union, but it's across from the Union. I had never had Qdoba before I went there. It was in Selleck. I love Qdoba. I think Qdoba is better than Chipotle now. I wouldn't have said that years ago. I think the peak of Chipotle better than Qdoba. And my problem with too much sodium in Chipotle, and it messes up my stomach. And I just
really?
I
think the guacamole is all I know. And the guacamole, I think Chipotle is better.
Michael, as you start adding guacamole, you're not going to have a $14 meal. And it's like,
but I don't get so I get just the guacamole.
Oh, you just get the guac straight up.
When I go with them, I don't get their meal and everything. So I get the guacamole.
There was a time in Chipotle history that you could get a bowl, chips, and guac for less than $13.
Oh, really?
And
that does sound expensive to me. I'm sorry. It does.
I know, but now that would be like 17.
Yeah. In my brain, I'm thinking I could buy an entire rotisserie chicken. Dude, I could buy 6 avocados. I could buy the cheese and everything else and all that and go home and make it.
For me, my rule is this: if I'm spending over $12 at this point, I might as well just go to a restaurant. If I'm spending over $12, I might as well go to a restaurant and sit down and be served and have a waitress and tip them and everything. If I'm going to a fast food place, I'm $10 or under. That's a non.
Yeah, you got to use the apps, man. The apps.
Totally agree.
Your good friend Grant, I know every day takes advantage of the free French fries you get at McDonald's.
Dude, he's on it. I have a friend that's all about credit cards. Like, you can ask him and he'll tell you a bunch of different credit cards.
Oh, the points things?
The points and the perks. Like, my friend Jack will sit down with each of us and be like, what do you do and what do you need points for? This is the credit card you need. Grant Hansen, the voice of the Omaha Supernovas, is like that with apps for fast food. He always whipping it out. Now, I'll tell you.
Whipping it out all the time? Whoa.
Stop.
Grant,
whipping out his apps. His app.
Okay. All right, cool. Sorry. Else. Allow me to whip this out. Name that movie.
I don't know. 8 Mile?
Josh, name that movie.
Is it 8 Mile?
Allow me to whip this out.
You said 8 Mile.
Take top saying Lotto, I don't fit you.
That's not the movie. The sheriff isn't. The sheriff isn't. That's the same movie. It's called
Blazing Saddles.
Blazing Saddles, yes. Blazing Saddles.
Amato, F Lotto. I get you 7 digits from your mother for $1 tomorrow.
You rhyme like a white person. I'm just playing. I'm just joking. That was a joke. That was a joke.
Like I'm white.
That was a joke.
And your cheeks look rosy because you get burnt in Costa Rica.
Look.
They look red. You're showing the camera. They look red.
They don't look red to me. Sorry.
I want to have a conversation about betting with you real quick. We're not serving an audience as much as you're serving.
You're doing a very good job with the betting tweets. Good job.
Am I?
No, seriously. Yeah, you're doing good. Yeah, it's stuff that I would do if I was in country and I actually could watch anything.
Well,
there's no American TV here.
You like when I get a Michael Severe on a tweet, you don't hand those out like it's.
No, I don't. I gave.
Michael Severe likes are legit, and I got a couple of likes there.
That's what you should do. Yes, that's good work by you.
So I want to ask you about sharp money because I'm reading all these other Twitter accounts, and some of them have some trend analysis, and some of them have basketball analysis and injury analysis, which is all good. But some analysis that I see is, hey, 50% of the bets are on this team, but 82% of the money is on them, which means that sharp money or big money is coming in on them. How much
depends on which way the line's moving.
Sure.
Depending on which way the line's moving, it'll tell you if it's actual sharp money or if it's just a group, a small influential group that is making the line move. If it's a reverse line movement, in general, that means it's a small group
Okay.
Who are outside of the mainstream of the sharps.
Like the UNI St. John's game, like the money is coming in at a point where it's like it seems like sharp money is trying to keep it a double-digit spread.
And it should be. It should be at double digits.
And so the bets aren't coming over to keep them at that number because they don't want that number to go lower. But then you have a game where it's like SLU is pros versus Joes straight up, where it's just like the numbers are completely skewed, where it's the public loves SLU, but the money's coming in on Georgia. How much do you allow that to affect your bet? Like, do you often look at numbers like that and say, hey, sharp money's coming in on this team? I haven't done a ton of research, but if sharp money's coming in there, I'm going to ride with the sharp. Or do you not allow that? Do you not allow that to affect your own bet?
No, my bowl pool and or NCAA tournament pool stuff, I always base it off of usually how many people are on it, right? On the winning team or whatever, or who they think is going to be the winning team. Or a big thing for me is, so I go to the net and look at the net, because if you can really translate the net into a line, right?
You can, yeah.
If you look at somebody who's like if you're 123 or above, in general, especially if you're going against a net team that's in the top 20, the number needs to be over 15.
Sure.
You know, you can go through and tell you exactly what it'd be, but that's what I look at more than anything else. I look at the bowl confidence numbers on who's on what side, basing off of who I'm going to take. And then on the other one, I look at what the net numbers are. Now, this is over the last 3 or 4 years, and compare what the net numbers are and what the line should be to what you get. And early in the week, right when they come out, you're going to get the best line. It's not even close. By the time Thursday comes around for the regular tournament, those things are tight as it can possibly get because of people going through them.
And that's the one that's where I make my mistake, I think, is I bet too much on the day of and not when the lines first get released. But
and my new thing is now I don't bet the games as much as I used to, because I love playing the elimination stuff. The elimination that's completely taken over my life in terms of the tournament. I like elimination tournaments are my favorite now.
When we talk about like the NFL and the gambling in NFL and fantasy football, I think survivor pools are having a moment. Like, I think survivor pools are trending up in terms of people wanting to be like, I think it's, you get the stress of it, like every single week, just kind of like you do with fantasy football. And you're never out of it until you're out of it, where you can be out of fantasy football and it's week 4, you know, you can be out.
You lose your number one player. You lose your quarterback. Yeah.
But when Survivor, you think you can win it until you're not winning it anymore, which I think is
it's great. And I think the elimination pools for the NCAA tournament are last year I got 2 of my ones to the final game, and you're trying to make these decisions going into the Final Four. You look at who they have left. You look who you have left. You're like, who should I go with?
Sure.
And I remember I chose right on one of them and wrong on the other. And ended up getting like a second place and a first place last year because of that. And it was I never had so much fun doing a bracket related thing as I did last year with that.
Your outlook for Nebraska in the NCAA tournament.
I have them losing to Florida all over the place. I have them losing to Florida.
But you haven't gone to Sweet 16 though.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, but I do. And maybe that's just me. I honestly believe that these Big Ten teams that have been going through this grind of the officiating that calls it really too tight, just the overall physicality of those leagues and the quality of player, when they leave that league this year, especially, and last year too, I just see them going in and beating the hell out of some teams that haven't played that kind of schedule and haven't played that kind of schedule since they were playing in the non-conference, right? Yeah. It's one thing to have played USC in December, or November. Now it's March and you haven't played anybody like that. And all of a sudden you got to play against somebody who's physical and big, like a Purdue can be, and Nebraska can be physical with you at times. That's what I'm looking at for Nebraska.
Real quick, I want to ask you about football. I think Mike Schaefer made a great comment on the morning show where he said, look, a couple of years ago, if the betting line for Nebraska football came out at 5.5 over under win total, we'd be spending an hour and a half on it. But because basketball is so popular and it's just been a quiet spring, not a lot of people have really spent time on it. I'll be honest with you. Been on the air for 6 hours this week. We haven't talked about it at all. I don't really have a reaction to it. Do you have a reaction to it? Do you think it's an indictment on Matt Rule? Do you think it's an indictment on the program? Do you think it really means anything? Just your kind of take on 5.5 being the win-loss total initially for Nebraska.
I will talk about that. We talked about it for a solid 8 minutes yesterday on Unsportsmanlike Conduct when they had me on. So I will tell you that there's no doubt we talked about it. So listen, this is my thing. The 5.5 was a mistake. They blew it. Vegas blew it. So I say Vegas because the true Vegas lines for this won't come out till after the draft. So I mean, literally, they will start concentrating on other things after April's done. So they're going to get into May, and you'll see clean lines coming out from true casinos, not FanDuel and that kind of stuff, right? So this 5.5 was wrong. It just was.
I agree.
This is how you put a line up, right? You go through simply, and you look and see what the matchups are and how many games they're going to be favored in. Nebraska will be favored in 6 games, right? So automatically, then you have to decide to yourself, if you are a lines maker, do I believe that can they win a 7th game, right? Do I believe that and then make it 6.5? Or do I believe that 6th game is such a tough game, like a pick'em, that they might lose it in 5.5 is my line. If Rutgers is your 6th game and you believe Nebraska is going to be a 7 or 8 point favorite in that game, you have to make it 6.5. And that's why the line moved so quickly. They opened it and the average Joe went, they'll be favored in 6 games. I'm going over 5.5. And they immediately had to move it within a day to 6.5 because they got so much money. Well, they got some probably influential money in, and that moved it.
I think another thing though too is that like when you have this team at 5.5 as opposed to 6.5, you're betting on them to underperform in one game as opposed to having them overperform in another game. And I think also too, I think these whole like win total lines and everything like that, especially this early on in the season before we get the season previews and the interviews from coaches and everything, all you're doing is going, oh, Illinois, Washington, Iowa, these teams, they should be better than Nebraska. Okay, here's the line. I just think it's lazy.
Right.
I just think it's lazy.
It is. It is not. I bet 9 of them last year. Along with 2. I had a bet to go to the conference championship game in one league, and then I had 2 other bets to go to the college ball playoff. And I remember I posted all wins, losses, what I got in those. I enjoy them when you can find a mistake. When you find one that is so, like I thought, and it came down close, was Illinois was a mistake. I thought they had them too high. And they ended up getting lucky at the end, right? I thought Indiana was way too low. And so that was a mistake, I thought.
You and I were all over Indiana last year.
Yeah, that one I didn't understand. And there were a couple other ones that I like Tulane was one that I got screwed on because I bet it early before they brought in the BYU quarterback, Red Flag, right? So that hurt me. But in general, I think if you can find mistakes, they're pretty glaring. And I say jump on them early. Don't wait for them to move at all. Just if you think it's a mistake, jump on it.
If you're a big Pick 6 preview guy, Brett Ciancia had 8 over-unders last year. He went 6-2 on them.
Nice.
I mean, he hammered them. Now, I only placed one future, and that was Indiana make the college football playoff. That was the only future I placed, and hammered it and ended up being okay. Mike Severe, we got to hit a break here. We appreciate you, as always, in Costa Rica. Jed Award Executive Director, say what you got to say, and we'll let you go here.
Well, April 2nd is our event. Individual tickets just went on sale on Monday. You can go to my Facebook or my Twitter account. You'll see it there, how you can buy individual tickets. You can buy a regular individual ticket for $250, which gets you the meal, get you in and all the entertainment. And then $500 gets you in early, gets you the football, gets you all kinds of special stuff.
And by the way, it's worth it to get in early. It's a fun time when you get in early. Did it last year. Meet a lot of really good people and hang out. So I totally recommend that.
Do that. You can go to jetaward.com and find all the information there and the link to buy tickets there as well if you want to do that. And
new venue, the Steelhouse, man. I've
Steelhouse this year.
Before, but I've heard great things about it.
It's going to be blast. I've been going through trying to figure out who goes to the upstairs VIP and who goes to the downstairs VIP. You didn't make the upstairs.
What do you mean I didn't make the upstairs VIP?
No, you didn't make the upstairs. I only got room for 70 people and,
I'm not even on the top 70?
No, there are people that give a lot of money. There, McMaster, they give up like a $20,000 table, or you're not going into Pete Ricketts section. You're not going into Corwin.
I know Pete. Pete and I.
Pete's cool with a lot of people. You're not going to Corwin Toyota section. You're not going in the cost communication section. These people are giving a lot of money. Man, I'm sorry.
Aiden Weejen's dad and I are best friends.
Yeah, well, they're not even in the upstairs.
He won the award.
Yeah, he's in there, and his lovely soon-to-be fiance. Okay. But not the rest.
Are you going to text him again that he's got to propose to that girl?
I have done it 3 times to him, and he actually texted me back, and he goes, I will. I said, do it from the stage, and he goes, too many Nebraska fans.
Ridiculous.
I said, too many Nebraska fans.
Engagement at the Jet Award.
And then I said, dude, Red is about love. He goes, there's too many Nebraska fans there. I go, but Red is about love. You should do it.
Michael Severe, the Jet Award Foundation, the executive director. You're the man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Bye-bye, Josh.
Bye, Michael.
You two are so cute.
I'll be upstairs.
No, you won't. What?
I'll be upstairs.
This is ridiculous. Everything I do for this station, do for you, do for Michael. I'm not a VIP.
I'm a program director of the media sponsor.
I am the host of Middays with Matt. Does that not have enough pull around here? Clearly not.
Clearly not. Yeah.
Middays with Matt. Going to take a break here, and we're going to do
Covered
the odd
Caden
news with
Legion
the
in
very
junior college.
the very important VIP program director, whatever the hell you want to call him, Josh Hodson's going to read the odd news coming up next on 1620 and 97.7 The Zone.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Odson.
Alrighty, Josh Odson. Let's get to it, my friend. What's in the odd news today?
That's right. We only got about 5 minutes here.
I know. Michael just talks too long. That's what it is. Just blame Michael.
You're hearing it more and more. Bruce Pearl got.
He's been getting got a lot recently. What has he done?
He got by one of those fake college basketball reporter accounts.
No. What did he do?
An ex account with the name Marcus Walters, Marcus spelled with a K, who has 798 followers, posted on Monday evening that Miami of Ohio head coach Travis Steele has accepted an offer to become the next head coach at Butler.
I did see that. I did see this tweet from Pearl.
Yes, Pearl proceeded to quote tweet that and say, "Great hire. Known Travis since his AAU days in Indy. Butler was our biggest rival when I was at Wisconsin, Milwaukee. Mad respect for the school, their basketball tradition, and the kids that go there. I'm a very proud evil stepmother." Feels like a weird thing to throw in there at the end, but Bruce Pearl says some weird stuff from time to time.
Compare himself to Maleficent?
He did.
Okay, very good. Bruce Pearl on brand, I guess.
I don't know that we've done this in our time here together, Matt. Are you familiar with the truck spill of the week?
I am familiar with the truck spill of the week, yes.
Okay, we go to California where a food spill, I'll give you that hint, backed up traffic for 9 hours. Would you like to guess what was spilled on the California highway?
I'm going to guess it's cottage cheese.
Good guess. Syrup, maple syrup.
Okay, that's tough.
Truck overturned Monday in the westbound lanes of the 10 in Fontana, causing hundreds of gallons of syrup to spill onto the roadways. And then you got to clean that up so nobody gets stuck on the road, right?
Do you like maple syrup? Are you a maple syrup guy? I think it's
fine. I don't need it.
Mid. I don't like it.
Everything. Why do I need to make my pancakes or my French toast even more sweet?
Here's my thing. It's very sweet. It's too watery. It's way too thin. It's way thinner than wait, what do we can't say that name anymore for the syrup. The ant. It's canceled. She got canceled.
Pearl Milling Company.
Yeah, that's syrup. We can't call her
AJ.
It was
people referred to her as AJ back in the day.
It wasn't an AG?
No.
Okay, very good. But anyway, that's great syrup. That's my favorite syrup. I will never buy any syrup other than that syrup. It's super thick and it's nice and it's sweet. Maple syrup is too watery, too skinny.
Okay.
I need a fat syrup.
Yeah,
I don't want a skinny syrup.
You're looking for a more artisanal syrup.
Do you know what a skinny syrup can do for you?
What's that?
Not a damn thing.
Ooh.
Go to the third and final odd news story.
A family in Florida. Oh, fun. We ended in Florida. I didn't know we did that.
Oh, okay. Wait.
Okay.
Family. Dang it. All right.
You can guess this, but
we're going to go with motor vehicle and a Chuck E. Cheese.
No, but good guesses,
Thank you.
You're not anywhere close, but
Damn it.
If you told me a Florida family, those would probably be a couple things, I guess.
Thank you.
Their cat had an intestinal blockage. They took it to the vet. They're like, Doc, this cat just won't go. Something's wrong. Can you help us? Well, they did a surgery and they found 26 hair ties in the cat's stomach.
That's tough.
Blocking up the works, if you will. And they got them all out. 6-year-old cat is,
okay,
all fine and well.
Yeah, that's on you. That's just negligence.
26 hair ties.
I mean, I did grow up in a house with 2 women, so 26 hair ties seem like it's pretty on brand. You could just find them in everyone. You had
Wouldn't you at a certain point go, where are all my hair ties going?
You would never.
Okay.
They would never. They have 77 of them. Okay. None of them are thinking. Do you have a packet drawer growing up?
Did I what?
Have a packet drawer growing up?
No.
It's like the drawer where you had all the old soy sauce packets and the mustard sauce packets and the hairpins and the Ziploc bags.
No.
And the fortune cookies and the wontons that they would give you at Chinese restaurants that you would never use. You never had that drawer.
We did not.
Okay. Well, that's where you would find hair ties too. Amongst all of the mess was all the hair ties.
We had a junk drawer, but not a.
Everyone's got a junk drawer. It's called the garage. Is a garage, or is it just the bigger version of the junk drawer?
You're on to something.
Like, seriously, I've never been to a garage. I'm like, wow, everything in here is so nicely compact and usable and very necessary for our lives. A lot of garages just have a bunch of useless stuff. That's my opinion. Outside of the vehicles that you have to use to get to work.
Good take.
If you're on your way to work now, we appreciate you listening to 1620 The Zone and Middays with Matt. Coming up back around this break, let's talk about some betting. Let's talk about the NCAA tournament. Let's talk about some upsets I'm looking at. I'm looking at some upsets. I want to let you know what they're all about. That's coming up next here on MWN on 1620 The Zone.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
First 4 games today. One of them's a rematch, Josh Hudson. I know you were surprised about it when you found out this morning.
Maui Invitational rematch.
And by the way, I'm not going to act like I watched this game all the way back in November. I was surprised about 12 hours before you were surprised that NC State and Texas already played this year. 102-97 was the score of that game. Texas won.
That sounds fun.
Real quick, I want to give a stat here that will relate to gambling. I mean, obviously, you don't have to gamble, but this is going to be a high-scoring game. Like we said before, 102-97 was the score of this game before. Both of these teams, Texas and NC State, enter this game. They are top 20 in offensive efficiency rating, according to Ken Palm, which is great. Top 20 offenses, right? I mean, that's one of the best in the country. Both of these teams are 85th or higher in defensive efficiency ratings. Both these teams play the similar style of play of we're going to run and gun and we're going to score a ton of points, and defense is an option. NC State is 85, Texas 112th in defensive efficiency. The over-under for today's game is 157.5, which means if you're doing quick math here, that they're projecting they're going to score less than 80 points each in the total.
Okay.
I'd probably go over. I'd probably bet the over. I'm not telling you to bet. I'm not saying you should bet. All right. I'm not telling you to do anything.
But you're not saying I shouldn't.
I'm just saying, it is what it is, if you will. Right? You feel me? You feel me? You're picking up what you're dropping down here.
I got you.
Let's talk about some quick betting trends. I just find I don't necessarily it's one of those things that, yes, I like to gamble, and I understand that not everybody likes to gamble and you don't have to gamble, but I think these trends, even if you are a gambler, are pretty interesting to hear about. And also you kind of just get, I think like the gambling numbers and the trends and whatnot give you an idea of what a game can look like. It also like paints a picture in terms of like what teams have done leading up to the season, because when you start talking about like how teams have looked and how they've played and whether or not they're covering and what they are against the spread, it paints a better picture of like, are they performing well going to the tournament? Are they not performing well going to the tournament? I think it also says a lot about their style of play. Like St. John's this year, they're 11-20 against the spread this season, right? That is not good. 11-20 against the spread. 11-20 against the spread is not a team that is consistently covering. And Northern Iowa, they're a plus 10.5 favorite, or sorry, plus 10.5 underdog. That is a game that 66% of the bets is coming in on Northern Iowa right now against St. John's, but the money is split 50-50. A big game that a lot of people are betting right now, it seems like a ton of sharp money is going on St. Mary's, could be Texas A&M. And you go ahead and you look at Texas A&M's their last 10 games, their trends. They're 3-7 against the spread in the last 10, 1-5 against the spread in the last 6 games. Granted, this will probably be a high-scoring game if you look at Texas A&M's history. Granted, new head coach this year, Buzz Williams over at Maryland, but the total has gone over in 14 of Texas A&M's games, 14 of Texas A&M's last 16 games played in the month of March. So for whatever reason, when they get to March, they like to score a lot of points. The Aggies do, but a ton of money being put over St. Mary's, but the bets are being split 50-50. So a ton of sharp money going on the Gales. And that's another one too. Georgia versus SLU has turned into pros versus the Joes. Georgia is being taken on 49% of the bets. 77% of the money is getting put on the Bulldogs, which means that 51% of the bets is being put on SLU, but only 23% of the cash being gambled on this game is going for the Billikens. What does this communicate to us? The public loves Robbie Avila. The public loves the underdog. They love, SLU coming out of the A-10. They love the fact that they're a 7 seed that wasn't in a power conference. You go ahead and you look at Georgia, right? Georgia's a team, in the SEC, a middling SEC team, not necessarily one of the top teams of the conference, but yet sharp money loves the Power 5 dogs in this one. And then we talked about it earlier. SMU, I think, is a team that could potentially make a deep run in the NCAA tournament coming out of the play-in game because, their last 6 games, which put them on the bubble, essentially, they went 1-5. They did not have one of their best players in BJ Edwards. Edwards will be back for SMU, and SMU too does have kind of that characteristic of this is a team that can fire the 3-point ball, right? When we see a lot these teams make these Cinderella runs, and you can even go to the NBA at times too and see teams that are unlikely to go to the Western Conference Finals or Eastern Conference Finals or even the Finals. How do they make it there? Well, it's because they're just hitting threes out of their mind. SMU was one of the best 3-point shooting teams in the ACC this season, 1-5 in their last 6 games, which put them on the bubble. But they get one of their best players back. Also, too, we've seen in the last couple of years, you definitely need good front court play, but your guards are the guys that kind of carry you to upsets and carry you to big runs. We saw that with Walter Clayton Jr. last season for the Florida Gators. Boopy Miller and BJ Edwards, 2 guards for SMU, top dogs. So could potentially see the Stings from the first 4 go ahead and make a run in the NCAA tournament. But a lot of money going on the Miami of Ohio Red Hawks. First off, I mean, they're a 31-1 team that somehow was the last team in the NCAA tournament. But at the same time, 4-0 are the Red Hawks against the spread this season. They are plus 7.5 underdogs. So the ATS trend's telling you to take Miami. So those are some betting updates. A couple other updates as well. Aiden Holloway won't play for Alabama against Hofstra. Listening to some podcasts yesterday, not going to act like I'm a Hofstra expert, but the analysis on the game between Hofstra and Alabama was put simply this way. Hofstra has really good guard play. That's why they're in the tournament. Do you know who has better guards? Alabama. Well, do you know who lost one of those guards? The Crimson Tide. So Hofstra opened up as an 11-point underdog. That line has only moved down half a point to 10.5. So not a ton of movement.
I also saw on my ESPN little push notification that it's now 2.1 pounds of marijuana.
Whoa.
Yesterday it was, I believe, a pound, or they said over a pound.
So they're finding more marijuana?
It seems like it, yes.
A lot of marijuana.
Also, I would agree, yeah.
I don't want to, I won't get into it too much. Because there is a difference between it being recreational and then you also like having the intent to distribute it, which is, there's a big difference there. So anyway, Aiden Holloway. More important thing is ain't going to play for Alabama.
That's right.
So that will be a game. I thought the line would move a little bit more. It has not. Some popular upsets that are being kind of pushed across the board here. Let's go through them. Number one, a lot of people like Southern Florida to go ahead and upset Louisville. Louisville has been able to win some games without Mikael Brown Jr., who's one of their better players, who's missed 10 games this season. The thing is that in that 10-game stretch, they haven't really been able to beat elite teams. I remember watching them without Brown against Clemson. They lost that game. Just not the best sight. And USF, a very talented team. They won the American.
Physical.
First time since 2012.
Yes.
They're back in the NCAA tournament. They're well coached. They got some talent. It's not one of those, non-Power 5 teams that are just going to roll over and like they can't compete in terms of physicality and athleticism, like you mentioned. Like they can go pound for pound with some of these P5 teams. It's just one of those things too. Even if Brown Jr. is in the lineup, they've just played so much basketball without him, where it's like you got to question, what will that look like if he ends up, coming back to their roster. Another very popular upset right now is VCU over BYU. Richie Saunders being out is a very big point of contention when it comes to picking against BYU. I do want to mention that BYU has won some quality games without Richie Saunders this season. They beat Iowa State. They had beaten Texas Tech. They beat Kansas State. They beat West Virginia. Now Texas Tech and Iowa State are kind of the big ones there. Granted, now losing to UCF and Cincinnati before the season ended. It's one of those things too where VCU, they win their conference championship game. They wouldn't have gotten in, which is kind of surprising if they didn't win their conference championship game. But those are kind of two popular upsets that a lot of
got
people...
VCU against North Carolina in the first round.
Oh, so who's BYU?
BYU's playing
they're
that
playing they're
Texas
playing the
NC State play
Texas.
winner. Yeah.
I got that. But anyway,
that's okay.
BYU, a team that a lot of people aren't picking to go far, despite them being a 6 seed because of Richie Saunders being out. AJ Dibansko, though, one of the best players in the country, one of the top picks. We'll see if he can make.
I would think that'd get him a little further down the road.
So, PC goes, give me all the BYU Bama stock everyone's selling right now. Here's the thing: like I've picked my bracket this go around as like some of it I'm using my intuition, and some of it I'm using my gut, and there are other points where I'm like, I would pick against this team, but I'm going to actually pick them because I'm not always right. So like the Purdue conundrum of like, what do you do with a team that's played 4 games in 4 days? And it was a very, very interesting insight from Fred Hoiberg, who talked about the last time he played on a Thursday, his Iowa State team played UAB and they got upset in that game. And he goes, well, before we played that game, we played 3 games in 3 days, and we had all 3 of those games were double-digit comebacks. Like, we were fried heading into that game, and that's part of the reason we lost to UAB. Purdue is a team that I look at, and I'm like, okay, 4 games in 4 days, and, you know, I was texting somebody yesterday, and they made a great point that Purdue's played way more average basketball this season than they've played good basketball this season. Granted, they got a really easy path to like
that quad isn't.
It is weak.
Difficult.
It is a weak quad that they have to play. So they'll go ahead.
I'll say that about whoever comes, whether it's BYU, Gonzaga, or Purdue. I'll say, well, they didn't have a difficult path.
Well, you go ahead and you look at where Purdue is situated in the bracket. So they go ahead. They got to play Queens, which I did watch Queens win their conference championship game. I wasn't overly impressed by their win. At the same time, it's not like we're going to know anything. I mean, I don't think there's a whole lot of analysis that you can do that can say, hey, Queens is for sure going to beat Purdue. If it just happens, it happens.
Purdue was the 7th best team in the Big Ten, and now they're one of the 8 best teams in the country. Make it make sense.
So Purdue goes ahead. They'll play Queens. Then they'll play the winner of Miami, Missouri, where Miami, if you go ahead and you look at their schedule and who they've beaten, they've done a good job of handling who they needed to handle in the ACC, but they haven't had too many quality wins against top teams of the conference, and particularly against Duke or Virginia. And so you go ahead, you play either Miami or a Missouri team that had to play their win in the last couple of weeks of the season into the NCAA tournament. And so I think either you're playing a Miami team that hasn't beaten a team as good as Purdue this entire season, or you're playing a Missouri team that had to, fight, scratch, and claw their way there in the SEC, and very, is a 10 seed, very much closer to the bubble than being a top contender in the NCAA tournament. And then they would have to then play the quad of either BYU, who doesn't have one of their best players, one of the playing teams in NC State and Texas. I think both of them have major flaws, and I would not be shocked in the slightest if they're not going to get to Purdue. And then you have Gonzaga and Kennesaw State. And Gonzaga, I do want to mention, fine team, Mark Few, hard to bet against them, 30-3 this season. The net ranking loves them. Playing Kennesaw State. I do want to mention, though, I want to make this very important, that they don't have one of their best players in Braden Huff. And Braden Huff, improves this team a lot for Gonzaga. Gonzaga, before Huff got injured, had the 14th best offensive efficiency rating. They've now dropped to 68th without him. So the offense definitely not moving in the right direction for the Bulldogs without Huff in the lineup. You also do need to remember, guys, that this is a Gonzaga Bulldog team that lost to Portland. They just dropped games, and they did lose to St. Mary's not too long ago either. Now, St. Mary's is 7th seed in the NCAA tournament, not necessarily the worst loss to have. They'll go ahead and win the WCC. So, look, I think Kennesaw State versus Gonzaga. I'm picking against Gonzaga just out of the randomness of the bracket, more so than me loving the Owls. It's not like I'm a big Owls fan. But 14 versus 3 seed upsets happen, and I think that Gonzaga having one of their better players get hurt definitely does not bode well for their chances making a deep run in the NCAA tournament. And also, too, if there's going to be a team in the NCAA tournament that takes advantage of one of your better big men being out, guess who it is? It's Purdue. So I like that Purdue has an easy path. I'm just fighting up against the fact that you look at the last 5 years, only one team who's won the Big Ten tournament has gone to the Sweet 16. That's Michigan. And then on top of that, everybody else has just lost in the round of 32 and the round of 64. So will Purdue, I mean, if Purdue was in Duke's bracket, where Duke also, so we've talked about the fact UConn is in their quad, St. John's is in their quad, Kansas is in their quad. They have a super tough, Michigan State is in their quad. I mean, MSU could easily be like a 2 seed, in my opinion, as opposed to being a 3. They also have a pretty tough matchup when it comes to who they would play in the 8-9 game as well. Ohio State and TCU, harken back to the game that we were broadcasting from on Friday, Ohio State versus Michigan. Ohio State took the Michigan Wolverines to the brink in that one. And I also want to mention, too, Ohio State has got a guy that you can make a candidate as a breakout NCAA star in Bruce Thornton. He's one of the best players in Ohio State basketball history and has been a menace in the Big Ten and one of the most crafty scorers in the entire country. You also got a pretty talented roster that's got good athleticism top to bottom. We can't forget about Amari Bynum, who's on that team for Ohio State. So they're going to be taking on a TCU team that you look at some of TCU's losses, you go, really? You look at some of TCU's wins and you go, holy crap. And that's a team, too, definitely surged through the Big 12 at the end of the season to get themselves to being a 9 seed. So I don't know, man. Like, after Caden Boozer, who played really well in the ACC tournament, but throughout the season maybe hasn't been consistently enough one of the better point guards in the country. Like, after Boozer, probably next best point guard is Cam Boozer after Caden. So Duke's it's going to be I know a lot of people are picking Duke to win the national championship, and a lot of people have them walking into the Final Four, and I get it. They've been one of the best teams, if not the best team in the country all season. Hell, they're the national championship favorites. They're not going to have a very easy path to the NCAA tournament. So, they're to the Final Four. Like, Ohio State, TCU, that'll be a tough game. And then you got to play either St. John's or Kansas, more than likely. That ain't going to be an easy game. And then you look at the other side of the bracket, who could come out there? UConn, Michigan State. That's tough. That's really tough. Like, if I'm Duke, I'm making a request of being like, hey, can we switch with Michigan, please? We'd love to play Georgia and St. Louis. We would love to play Michigan is going to play Georgia or SLU after their first round. And then if they get to the Sweet 16, here are the 4 teams, one of the 4 teams they're going to play. Texas Tech without JT Toppin, Akron coming out of the MAC, Alabama without Aiden Holloway, or Hofstra. One of the 4 teams that Duke is going to have to play is St. John's, the Big East champion, Kansas with Darren Peterson, Northern Iowa, and Cal Baptist.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah, one of those teams is which team do you think is the number 1 overall seed?
Based on those pairings that you've listed, Michigan.
Yeah. Quite ridiculous. So a lot of things coming out too about Darren. I feel a little bad because I was on the Darren Peterson needs to get his S together train.
Mm-hmm.
These articles that he's described of his full body cramps this season, calling them traumatic. I want to apologize. If that is the case, if that truly was the case, I don't think anybody. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. I get cramps in my hamstring. I'm like out for a week. You ever get like a calf cramp in bed?
Yes, I have.
The worst. Do you know who's not the worst? It's Tim Verghese.
Timmy V
going to be on Middays with Matt coming up next, talking about Trey Taylor, talking about the recruiting cycle, talking about Ahmad Hudson, down to 6 teams for his recruitment. One of them is Nebraska. We talked to Tim Verghese of Inside Nebraska and Rivals coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone. Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Nothing more annoying than the guy who just randomly breaks out an air golf swing. Just randomly just be like, yeah, this is my swing. This is what I'm working with. This is what I'm hitting on the links. I just wanted to put that out there. One guy who definitely doesn't do that is Tim Verghese. He joins us here on Middays with Matt inside Nebraska Rivals.com. Mr. Verghese, are you a golfer, Tim? You a big golf guy?
No, unfortunately, no. It was one of those things I've got a Top Golf. I'm a Top Golf guy.
Okay.
Even that, not really. I got a Top Golf, but no, it's always been one of those things where I'm like, I'll pick this up at some point in my life, but here we are, and I still not picked it up. So
it's okay.
Clock's ticking.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. I mean, it's a lot of commitment. It's a big pissing contest, if you will, too, amongst your friends. Not that I'm an advocate for golf, but sometimes it gets a little bit too much. You feel when you're picking up when I'm dropping down. It's kind of like recruiting.
Yeah, no doubt.
Isn't that like recruiting a little bit? Like you love recruiting, but sometimes it's a little too much, and we get a little overzealous.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Let's talk about recruiting. Ahmad Hudson, top 6 teams announced yesterday. Nebraska finds themselves in the fold amongst others, some high quality teams across the country. Obviously, if you've been keeping track of this, and we know you have, Tim, but for our listeners at home, the number 1 tight end in the recruiting class, also a top 32 basketball recruit as well, looking to play both football and basketball in college. Is LSU still the team to beat, or is Nebraska sitting in the poll right now, according to you, Mr. Tim Verghese?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think where we're at, it's going to be those 2 teams. It really feels like it's going to come to those 2 of this 6. I mean, I think A&M's the other program you got to be a little wary of, but really think this is going to come down to LSU and Nebraska. And, I mean, at this moment, I think Nebraska's done a lot right, but it's a big 2 weeks for him. He's going to be at LSU this weekend. He's going to be at Nebraska next weekend, going to be in town for the spring game. And decision still expected on July 4th. What I'm going to be curious to see here is how Nebraska manages these next few weeks of this recruitment. I don't think I think the writing's kind of on the wall in terms of what's next at LSU for basketball. It's going to be staff change. It's going to be some new blood. And I think we all kind of know who that guy might be. And if that does come into fruition, Lane Kiffin and an LSU basketball team with some energy is a tough package deal to recruit against, especially for a player like Ahmad Hudson, who lives in Louisiana, has his father played at LSU. He's a legacy prospect. Like, there's a lot connecting him to that program. But Nebraska's done a lot right. Like, I think if he had to make a decision at this very moment, I think it would be very hard for him to say no to Nebraska.
Ooh.
But the thing is, he's making a decision in July, and you have a couple weeks here where some things could change in a hurry, and LSU kind of has this time to put together this. I mean, to be quite honest, when he was coming up to visit in Jan, I thought that would have been a really good opportunity for Nebraska to maybe create some separation from LSU. But him not making that visit, the effort of Lane Kiffin and that new staff at LSU on the football side of things, and the work they've done since they've taken over, they've kept LSU right in this and kept them right in there with Nebraska, where this is going to be a really close race moving forward. And when it's as tight as it is, I think it's going to be one of those things where come July 4th, I don't think we can call it one way or the other at this point, but really, there's a lot going on LSU's end from the family and legacy standpoint side of things. Like, I think that really matters. Nebraska is in an effort to make this a family affair, offered his little brother Branson, 2030 prospect on the rise. LSU just did too. They did that very recently, and that meant a lot. So it's going to be these 2 schools. I think, however you want to look at that, positively or negatively, like, it's going to come down to these 2 schools. Nebraska has done enough where I don't think there's another program coming here and knocking Nebraska out of that spot. Like, it's going to come down to these final 2 schools. Now it's on Nebraska to figure out through these next few weeks, through official visit season, what can they do to create some separation for themselves. I think they're asking themselves that same question in that recruitment and the recruitment of Albert Simeon, where they find themselves battling LSU and Texas A&M as well.
Yeah, I mean, we saw him at the Battle at the Boneyard, and I think he was amongst 3 guys in that 7-on-7 tournament where you go, whoa, dude. Like there were a couple dudes, and one of them I think was Trey Taylor, but he stood out. And also too, the chemistry that those 2 guys had on the football field was palpable. And obviously, we've seen all of Trey. I mean, I think Trey tweeted yesterday of like, you're gonna have to move heaven and earth to not allow Ahmad Hudson to play with me in Nebraska, is kind of paraphrasing what he said there. Be very interesting what his recruitment and commitment looks like. Like you said, July, still a long way to go in that one. Let's transition to Trey Taylor, going to Elite 11. I heard your interview with Happer and Schaefer talking about there still is importance of Elite 11, definitely in this cycle of recruiting in this era of college sports. And still there are guys who can come in being 3-star prospects or, whatever it might be, and they go ahead and they have a good camp, and all of a sudden they're the hottest name for P4 teams. Trey Taylor, if you were to put a percentage on it or a likelihood on it, however you want to approach it, what is the likelihood he ends up becoming a 5-star by the time his recruiting process is done?
Ooh. I'm going to put it at, I would say right now, I'm going to be very oddly specific and say 47%. I think it's very, I think it's a very real shot it happens, but coming off the junior season he had where he answered a bunch of questions that people had for him, the 7-on-7 performance he's had so far, I think his best shot at earning this is by putting together just a really good performance at Elite 11 against some of the other top quarterbacks in the country where, you have national evaluators there and they're seeing all these quarterbacks at the same time. Because I don't really know if there's anything he can do as a senior with moving to Millard South. It's not a slide against Millard South or anything. I mean, I don't think I think this would just be the case with the Carmel Catholic as well. I'm not really sure what there is for him to do as a senior that can get him a 5-star that his junior season didn't. Yeah. He completed over 80% of his passes. He only threw 3 interceptions and threw for over 35 touchdowns. He ran for over 600 yards. Maybe it's throwing for 4,000 and 1,000, be truly undeniable. But even that's one of those things where knowing what we know about him and if we have an idea of what some of these games, with him playing at Millard South could look like, I don't know if he's going to be in the game long enough at Millard South to put up those kind of numbers, So I just don't. That's where I'm at this point. Is I don't know if there's anything he can do outside of winning Elite 11 and continuing to shine in these off-season events, which he'll have plenty of opportunity. I mean, next month's a big month for him. You'll have OT7 tournaments and then the OT7 championship later this off-season. He'll have Elite 11. He could be at the opening. I'm curious how Nike operates that event. And I thought he had he's had good showing so far. Other events, he'll be, if he can make it out there, I think he wants to be at next year's All-American Bowl because he was invited this last year, but was unable to compete. So he has enough opportunities outside of the actual on-field product to do it, but that's just where I'm at on it. It's however you feel about it. I don't know if there's anything more he can truly do on the field to earn this 5th star.
Yeah, it's one of those things too, Tim, where it's like, I was lucky enough to announce a lot of Millard South High School football games last year and, talk to Coach Taylor Mendenhall plenty. And, the nicest way of putting it is the last couple of weeks of Millard South season, the best competition they were getting was in practice. The hardest football they were playing was Monday through Thursday, and not necessarily on Friday. And you bring up a great point. A lot of those games outside of maybe 2 for Millard South were kind of done by middle of the second half. And I just don't know what Trey, you're right, outside of doing these showcases and camps and Elite 11 and everything, how much is he really going to be able to show you that he improved? And that's part of the reason why I was a little disappointed. Now, granted, Tim, happy that he's in the state of Nebraska, happy that he's, playing for Millard South. At the same time, I think in terms of improving stock, to take a team like Carmel, who has been very much in the mediocre to bad area of Illinois high school football for quite a while, to have them beat teams like Montini and Providence and Loyola, and granted lost to Montini and Providence, and then beat Loyola, but the fact that they were competing at that level was indicative of how good Trey was and how much he had grown. And now I feel like he left a little bit on the table going to Illinois in terms of proving that.
Yeah, there's some of that, but I think some of this too is, like I think you can improve your maybe recruiting stock, but I think he set out to prove what he needed to, and in terms of in Illinois, and in terms of what, like thinking about his longer term football career, I think the opportunity to get a head start on his career in Nebraska, and again start to build up and work on building up this 27 class, for him at least take some precedent over improving his own ranking. Because for him, I think there's a challenge for him that him and his family that they see in learning this new offensive system, working, for the first time, really not with his dad. He's done this a lot of it on his own, with the help of his father, but his father's been there, and now he his father's kind of just going to be a fan in the stands, just supporting. So that's going to be a little different. So I think they're excited about that challenge, excited about, teaming up with Tay Ellis and, getting a head start on all of this. But, I've said this with recruits all the time of ultimately, if the school believes in you, what your talent is and you're working to improve, ultimately, does the ranking ultimately matter? Not necessarily. It doesn't really, but I absolutely get, he wants to earn that 5-star. But at the same time, I also think he recognizes there isn't any additional value to solely competing just for that. You know what I mean? He's competing for his own development.
Let me add to your comments here, because I think you're spot on. If he's still looking for offers and he's still looking for more money, or he's still looking for a place to find home or whatever it might be, the star ratings matter, right? And how people evaluate him matter. To him, that I agree with you. It doesn't really take precedent over being closer to the campus and being closer to Lincoln and recruiting for 2027, because he already knows where he's going, right? That stuff is already set in place. And so, if you're trying to get to a better school, if you're trying to earn more money, if you're trying to be able to have more leverage in terms of your recruiting process, being a 5-star takes precedent over anything. But you're right, for him, because he already knows he's going to Nebraska, making sure that they get the most amount of talent and that he can also be close to campus, that probably matters more to him, seemingly so, because he moved to Millard South.
Yeah, no doubt. So that's, I think for him, the senior year challenges and goals are, learning this new system, working with them, and then getting as comfortable as he can around Lincoln and bring some people with them. I think Nebraska's going to have the majority of this recruiting class, or they're hoping to have the majority of this recruiting class done by the summer, but it's going to be a sprint through the fall. They're still going to be working on some big flips. I think Trey's going to be really active. You're going to see him and the staff really work to flip guys and get shots at guys. We talked about Ahmad Hudson. He's going to decide on July 4th. I think whether it's for or against Nebraska, they're going to have to recruit him through the finish line. I don't get the sense they're, with how much they've invested into recruitments like Mark Matthews, Kennedy Brown, Albert Simeon, so on and so forth, Olu Olugbogbala along the offensive line. On the defensive line, like Marcus Fakatu and guys where it's maybe Nebraska isn't in pole position right now. For a guy like Marcus Fakatu, they're not even really in the mix right now. But for on Nebraska's end, they're not slowing down on any of those guys. They're big game hunting, and hoping that, they're hoping that once we get deeper into the fall too, and they're able to show some things on the field, they're bringing in some of this talent and are in position to be a big flip threat for some of these top guys in the 27 class.
And that is kind of the key, right, Tim? The success of 2026 affecting how many of these big game guys that you can get, right? How many of these dogs that you can really get. I think it's a good point made. Let's talk about the Dune trailer. How do you feel?
Oh, I'm so excited, man. I got the word yesterday. This is coming. We got word yesterday. This is coming, and I've just been on edge all day, just waiting for this Um,
17-year jump? 17-year jump between Dune 2 and Dune 3? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so you had to kind of do it just based on where the story's going, and for you to do this right, it's for sure going to be the boldest, I think, of the three in terms of the direction of the story and what they have to do. Like, I don't think it's a guarantee. Like, I didn't feel this way maybe about 2. Like 2, I was like, okay, I know where this is going.
Yeah.
3 is one of those things where I actually have some questions of 1, where this is going, and 2, how they land this plane, because there's a lot of story to get to. And with this big time jump, it weirdly allows you to bring all of this together and meet these people where they're at. So hopefully they're able to kind of make this seamless, but I'm going to be very curious to see how they do this and what the initial reaction is to it. I love this first trailer, what we've seen in it. Honestly, one of my big doubts was, they changed cinematographers for this movie for the third one.
Oh, really? Okay.
And yeah, it just didn't work out in the schedule, but it still looks tremendous. It looks really good. So it looks a little different, but it still looks really good. There's some visuals in here that I've been thinking about since the trailer dropped. But no, I'm super stoked for this. My theory, or my personal take right now, I'm a big Timothée Chalamet guy, but I kind of think Robert Pattinson and Anya Taylor-Joy are going to steal this movie.
Do you think Lisa Al-Giab wins the war? Did I say it right? Lisa Al-Giab? Lisa Al-Giab? I've seen both movies, by the way. I've seen both of them.
Yes.
I have to rewatch Dune 2 because I forget how it ends.
You'll sit through that, but not The Godfather.
Well, I'm about to finish The Godfather, Josh. Jeez. Mikey just killed McCluskey at Louis. All right? Stop.
Spoiler alert.
Well, yeah, it's 50 years old. All right, Tim, we got to let you go. We got to hit a hard break.
Out there who is really looking forward to finishing up The Godfather tonight, and you just spoiled it for us.
That's me. That's me. I'm looking forward to finishing The Godfather tonight. We'll talk to you later, Timmy V.
Yes, sir. Talk soon.
Timmy V. Why are you making fun? At least I'm watching The Godfather. All you people are ridiculous. You get mad at me for not watching movies. You get mad at me for not being cultured. You get mad at me for not getting the references. Then I watch the movies the way I watch the movies, and what do? You still make jokes. It's still not good enough for you.
That's a fair
critique. Do you know
critique.
why I don't need a girlfriend? Because I have you, and I have Connor, and I have Schaefer.
You got a bunch of your coworkers nagging you.
Everybody tells me how their girlfriends run them up a wall. Well, you know what? I got 3 middle-aged men who do it every damn day. We talk about the WBC next on Middays with Matt.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
All right, the All-American teams are out for college basketball before March Madness starts. Let's see here. We got... No, that was not the update I was looking for. Here we are. All-American teams. First team, All-American. Darius Acuff Jr. from Arkansas. One of the best players in the country. AJ Dybanska from BYU. Yaxel Lendenborg from Michigan. Cam Boozer from Duke. JT Toppin from Texas Tech. Jeremy Fears Jr., Braden Smith, Keaton Wagler, Josh Jefferson, and Caleb Wilson for the second team. And then Anderson, LeBaron, Philon, Kingston Flemings, and Ike from Gonzaga, along with Hawk.
What do they have against Nebraska, Matt?
I don't know what they have against Jaden Bradley is my issue, who ended up winning the Big 12 Player of the Year. And, you know, kind of one of those things where it's like
Big 12 Player of the Year didn't make the list?
Yeah. Is what it is.
All right, that's interesting.
Very interesting. But pretty good All-American team for college basketball. That first team's awesome. Toppin, Boozer, Lendenborg, Dybanska, Acuff.
My better with Frager on it.
No, it wouldn't. Now, Zuby Ejiofor not being on the All-American team is something. That is interesting. Other than that, the Big 12 Player of the Year not being on the All-American list is interesting as well. But Zuby not being on is kind of wild. Jeremy Fears, Braden Smith, Keaton Wagler. Just basically, we're going to have the entire Big Ten be the second team All-America. It's funny. We're looking at this here. We have 4 All-Americans for the Big Ten. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5 All-Americans for the Big 12. And then you got 2, 3 for the SEC. Then 1 for the WCC. And then 1 the ACC got 2 with Boozer and Caleb Wilson. So those are your All-America teams for college basketball. WBC tonight. Venezuela versus USA in Miami. Should be fun. It's funny, like, looking at the WBC in comparison to, like, the Olympics for hockey. You know, the Olympics for hockey were very stressful for the people who cared about them. Like, the USA needed to win. USA needed to beat Canada. It was, for it to matter, for it to, like, really have an impact on anything, for you to look back on the Olympics and be like, hey, this was awesome. It's almost as if the United States needed to win that game. And from a hockey perspective, there wasn't a lot to gain if Canada won. Because if Canada won, it was like, oh, they were supposed to. I mean, it's Canada's sport. If the USA were to win, that would, you know, have some pretty big impacts. Not in the NHL. Don't let anybody tell you that the Olympics did anything for the NHL. It's more so for hockey in America. The WBC has such a different vibe. And in part is because, you know, the United States, we don't need to prove that we have good baseball players and, you know, that this is our sport. It's America's pastime. The vibe is so much different, though, because it's just like people are having fun. Like Venezuela being in the finals is like, dude, the vibes are going to be immaculate.
And after sort of the group math snafu,
that was
with
fun.
with D-Row, like, okay, America got out of that, won a game in the knockout, they're in the championship. Like, we can kind of exhale now, like, whew, okay. If we win, great. Would love to win. Need to win. We took Venezuela's president. Now it's time to take their baseball title.
What? We did.
Maduro has nothing to do with this. He doesn't.
Not that you know of.
Not that I know of. That's a good point. I'm not in intel. They're not telling me anything. We have.
You're not in on those meetings?
No, I wasn't invited.
Okay.
It seems like there are a lot of people who should be in on those meetings who aren't in on those meetings. Anyway, this is, we both went to the stick. We both.
Stick to sports. Stick to sports. Stick to.
We are sticking, Stips. We're not talking about. I'm sticking to sports. We're not talking about Maduro. We're not talking about Venezuela. We're not going to say Aaron Jones is going to drop a bomb, in Miami or anything. We're not going to say he's hitting bombs tonight. We're not saying that. We didn't say that. We would never say that. Whoa, you guys got to calm down, man. Jeez, not that big of a deal. Everybody.
So sensitive.
I know, especially now that, our Omaha audience, they got to be a little bit more like our Central Nebraska audience,
They're cool. They're
cool, guys.
They're cool.
You
be cool too.
The Central Nebraska audience is like the new friend at the party. It's like your buddy. The Central Nebraska audience to the zone is like your buddy comes back from college and he brings home his college friends. He's like, hey, dude, be cool, or I'm a college friend, right? You're my high school boy.
You're trying to get both friend groups to mesh with each other, but they're not.
They're not. It's like, God, come on. Like, I got to go back with these guys, all right? Like, hey, Omaha audience, we'll be friends for life. Don't worry about it. But we got these new guys from Central Nebraska. Be cool, all right? Be cool, all right? We're going to keep being cool and talk about FOIAs here on Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Got a text from Brian from Bellevue.
Hi, Brian.
Brian asked, do I have any dark horses for the NCAA tournament to make the Final Four? I'm not going to act like I'm all high and mighty, all right? That I'm putting like 11 seeds in the Final Four. Or I'm, riding the wave of. I can see the future or anything like that. Like I'm not gonna try and be the guy.
You're not doing that.
I'm not gonna try and be the guy to predict Cinderella just so I can be the guy who predicts Cinderella. All right. I want to win my bracket challenges. I want to win my bracket tournaments. Okay. I have a disgusting amount of money on brackets. All right. I'm not going to admit to you how much I have riding on brackets this year. Let's just say it's in the hundreds. Okay. We're not going for, I'm going to pick High Point all the way to the Elite Eight because I feel the vibes, I'm trying to win. So I'm not going to be that guy. Would we consider having a 4 seed in the Final Four a dark horse? Would we say yes? Would we say, yeah, that's a dark horse to make the Final Four? Because I do want to say something. Connor Happer is a college basketball guy, okay? Connor Happer.
Through and through.
More of a college basketball guy than I am.
Basketball better than football. That's one of his takes.
Right? I would consider myself a college basketball guy, but Connor's been doing this longer than I have. Did you hear his Elite Eight today?
Oh, no.
1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-3.
Oof.
Come on. Really?
I got a 1-6 in there, but
you know what? I'll brag. I'm gonna bracket shame people. All right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
You won't give us any picks, but you will bracket shame people.
No,
Got
I
it.
will. No, wait. Who said I wasn't giving any picks?
You're like, I don't know. No dark horses from me.
No, I'm not gonna be the guy who puts a 14 seed to like be all cool. But like, I will give you my picks. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
You think we're doing a big board tomorrow or not? We're doing a big board tomorrow.
Yeah.
We're actually doing the biggest big board tomorrow ever in Middays with Matt history. How about that?
I got 3 double-digit seeds in the Sweet 16.
Who are they? If you don't mind me asking.
I don't mind at all. I'll tell you.
Am I okay to ask?
I got High Point.
Nice.
I got South Florida.
That'd be a low point for Nebraska, for Wisconsin if they let that happen.
Would
that be a low point? Be a real low point. A low point for the Badgers, huh? I mean, come on, man.
Then I have Troy.
You what? What? You have who? Who do you have in the Sweet 16, Josh?
I have McNeese falling to Troy.
Say that one more time.
I have McNeese falling in the second round, the natural second round, to Troy.
Put yourself in the dead to us list.
I'm sorry. Why?
Put yourself on the dead to us list.
Why?
Who does Troy have to beat to play McNeese State? Josh.
A team that has struggled to do anything in the first 12 minutes of a basketball game for the last 2 months.
Change it. Change it now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Change it now. Please change.
I thought we was playing to win.
That ain't playing to win. That ain't going to happen. Why would you pick a game that you know isn't going to happen that way?
Oh, McNeese is beating Vanderbilt.
No.
You can take that to the bank.
No. The other one, Josh.
Oh.
Change it.
I don't think I'm going to. I think...
Give me a good reason as to why Troy's going to beat Nebraska.
Give me a good reason why Nebraska's going to beat Troy.
Because they're a better team than them. What are we talking about here?
Are they a better team in March than Troy, or are they a better team in November than Troy?
Wait. First off, this is ridiculous. They have lost to teams by very close margins who are literally 2 and 3 seeds in the NCAA tournament. Okay, they have beaten plenty of high quality teams throughout the season to get to this point. They're a 4 seed. Number 2, they're better shooting than Troy. All right. They're also played teams.
What if the shots don't go in?
They also have played teams that have to try to crash the boards like Iowa and have been able to defeat them by crowding the paint. Also, too, Troy's a dribble penetration team. All right. If you're going to dribble penetrate against Nebraska, you better be ready for the weird switches and the really good rotations.
Better be ready for the refs to call a million fouls on Nebraska and none on Troy.
This is absolutely ridiculous.
I'm just saying it's a lot of pressure for Nebraska. Be a shame if it got to them.
Troy cannot do any of the things that Nebraska has struggled with in terms of the size and in terms of the athleticism. And in terms of them being a very good rebounding team, we saw Nebraska and them able to game plan against Iowa, and they did a pretty good job against Purdue, all things considered, on the offensive boards. You want to say the second chance points were 19 for Purdue? That's totally fine. I will harken back to the fact that they were 11 better offensive rebounds the second time they played them than the first time they played them. When they know that they have to rebound and they have to scheme up against rebounding, they're going to go ahead and they're going to rebound well. Also, Troy isn't a great three-point shooting team. And Nebraska's going to allow them to take three-point shots. They're not great at it.
I hope you're right.
Do I think Troy will cover? Absolutely.
So you're saying it's going to be close?
I don't think
like Nebraska's it might come down to the worst officiating in the history of the sport, just like it always does for Nebraska.
No.
They do get bad refs, though.
They do get some bad. I mean, they got screwed in the Michigan game. Can we agree on that? Can we agree that they got screwed in the Michigan game?
All right.
They got screwed in the Michigan. They're just they're just straight up a better team than Troy.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that at all. Some crazy things happen in March,
if you want to say that, hey, Troy has a rebounding advantage and that could be very, very difficult for Nebraska, fine. That's totally okay. I will just counter that with when they knew the rebounding was a problem against Iowa and Purdue, they were able to do a much better job against them the second go around. If the biggest threat,
you only get one go round against Troy.
If the biggest threat against Troy is going to be, hey, they rebound well, and they are focused on that, that's not going to supersede the fact that Nebraska's just a better team.
Nebraska's better. I agree. It's all those intangibles.
I'm messing with you. You don't have to change your bracket. You don't have to put yourself on the dead to us list.
Phew, okay.
You're okay. You're fine.
That's really all I wanted to talk myself out of.
You're a good egg in my book, even if you make bad decisions. Let's talk about making bad decisions in basketball. Let's talk about it.
Oh, okay.
We have a FOIA.
A FOIA.
Unfortunately, this FOIA that I have acquired, I haven't acquired it. It's an article that I read that a bunch of people, one guy acquiring a bunch of FOIAs.
You ever tried to fill out a FOIA? We don't have that kind of time.
Really? Is it that bad?
I have no idea. I assume there's a lot of paperwork involved.
Okay. So we want to give a proper shout out here to Mr. Matt Brown. Okay. He has extra point Substack here. He FOIA'd, you say they're a pain in the ass to do? He FOIA'd like every school in the country. Every single one of them. FOIA'd. He even writes down here, it's a long scroll. Let me get to it. There's 13 schools he wasn't able to get. The fact that he wasn't able to get 13 of them is absolutely insane. Okay? Especially now that you're telling me they're a pain in the ass. All right, here it is. Air Force, Alabama State, Alabama A&M, Alcorn State, Texas Southern Troy, Alabama, South Alabama, a bunch of small schools. The main big schools across the Power Five outside of Florida and Georgia Tech, he was able to FOIA. The number one spending school for operating budgets in 2025, so this was last season, was Indiana. Now,
really?
$7 million of those dollars from last season were paid toward the buyout of Mike Woodson. They had to pay $7 million.
Okay.
Still, though, you subtract $7 million from Indiana operating budget, they're at $25 million. That's still $2 million higher than Tennessee, who last season was a 2 seed. That's still a couple $1 million more than Arizona, who was one of the better teams in the country. They still were spending a lot more money than a lot of the teams who actually ended up playing well. Arizona was a 4 seed last year. Indiana spent $3 million more than them. UConn spent less money than Indiana. Michigan State spent less money than Indiana. Auburn who was the number 1 overall seed, spent $5 million less than Indiana, even after you remove the $7 million that they paid to Mike Woodson. Indiana spent $32 million last year in operating expenses.
Whoa.
Just to not make the NCAA tournament. Okay? Now, Matt does a great job here of cost per win. What are you paying per win last season in 2025? Now, a lot of these teams that are on the lowest cost per wins are small, mid-major schools who aren't spending a lot of money but dominated within their conference. For example, McNeese, right? They're one of the lowest spending per win teams, lowest cost per wins, 26-7, $121,000 per win. You go, though, and look at a team like Nicholls State, right? They only spent $1 million on basketball. Their 17-13 record isn't necessarily impressive, but they spent $69,000 per win.
Nice.
Okay.
I mean, they probably spent all that money dropping the state from all of their, all the stationery, all the graphics. You got to update those because they're just nickels now.
You think a lot of it went into marketing?
I do. I do.
That's your argument? They couldn't spend a lot on the basketball team because, man, we needed to get new graphics.
We're just a little strapped after that rebrand.
So let me do some math real quick. Because he didn't embarrass Indiana enough. Do you know how much Indiana paid per win last year?
They paid what, $32 million total? Is that right?
Yeah, $32 million total. They won 19 games. They paid $1.7 million per win.
Seems like a lot.
Last year. Just for some context here, right? $1.7 million is a higher operating budget. So they just paid this per win. It's a higher operating budget than Southern Illinois, North Carolina, Southeast Missouri, North Carolina Central, Southeast Missouri State, North Arizona, University of Central Arkansas, University of New Hampshire, East Texas A&M. It's like 40 different schools have a lower operating budget than Indiana just paid for one win last season. Now, you want a little local flavor?
I do.
Shout out to University of Nebraska, Omaha, or just Omaha in general. They were one of the lowest cost per win teams in the country last season. Last season, Omaha only paid $126,000 per win.
Whoa.
Top 25 team in cost per win last season.
Do they know a guy with a plane or something? How is it possible to spend that little?
Their operating budget last season was $2.533 million. Their 20-13 record, their Summit League regular season title and Summit League tournament championship title cost $126,000 per win last season. So congratulations to Omaha being ethical, financial, just spending better than everybody.
I'm just saying, Oklahoma, Crutch could do that for you, but you decided no, Porter Mosier's the way to go.
Yeah. I wonder what would have happened if things kind of went south at Oklahoma to end the season and if Crutch ended up winning the Summit League tournament title again this season. I wonder if they
just a little more of a down tick for Oklahoma, just a little more of an uptick for Omaha.
I don't think Crutch is looking to leave Omaha. Like, I don't think that's a thing.
He loves it here.
Yes, he very much enjoys being the head coach of Omaha. I don't think he's looking to leave, but I do. I mean, home is home. Home is home.
Yeah.
He spent a lot of time there in Oklahoma and definitely left himself a very impressive legacy at Oklahoma, considering the fact that he played a massive part in getting one of the biggest and most impactful Oklahoma players to campus, which was Trae Young. So
he gave them shoes.
Trae Young did give them shoes. Which
lowers the cost.
If I'm being honest with you, it goes to show you the relationship Crutch and him have, right? The lowest paying Power 5 team per win last season was, who do you want to guess?
Can you repeat the category again?
Cost per win amongst Power 5 teams.
Oh, wow.
Who do you think was the lowest cost per win per P5 teams last season?
I'm trying to think fast. I'm sorry. Florida State.
Houston.
Really?
Houston won 35 games last season. They went to the national championship final. last year. They nearly beat Florida to win it all. They spent $14,626,000.
Did they have like the most wins?
They had 35 wins.
That's a lot.
But still, $14 million, 35 wins. They paid $417,000 per win. Iowa State is the second lowest.
I knew it was going to be somebody really bad or really good, and I guessed wrong.
Followed up. So they spent $10 million on operating expenses last year. They spent $423,000 per win. And the third lowest Power 5 team was Wisconsin. 27-10, $12.4 million spent on basketball, $460,000 per win last season. University of Nebraska-Lincoln, so not Omaha, the Huskers, they spent a total of I don't have it bookmarked here. I apologize for bad radio. $13.4 million was spent in operations last year for Nebraska.
So they're close to those other schools.
So just for context here, they rank 9th in the Big Ten. They are just in front of Iowa and Maryland. They're about $130,000 ahead of Iowa and about $500,000 ahead of Maryland. So if they spent $600,000 less on basketball last season, by the way, this is not like NIL or anything like that. This is just operational budgets. Okay. They would be 11th in the Big Ten. They are behind Oklahoma and Purdue, by the way. Oregon spent more money than Purdue last season in basketball. So there is your FOIA. I would love to see.
I feel like Oregon's kind of a hey, let's burn money school.
Yeah, they got. Yeah. I would love to see what. Like, I hope he does another article like this in the future, like next season, because I would have to think that if Nebraska is spending anything close to what they're spending, this season, like if they spend anything close to what they spend in 2025 and 2026. They're going to have one of the best cost per wins in the Power 5. Because we talked about Houston and Iowa State, right? Them having about $430,000 per win this season in operating costs. If Nebraska ends up around that $13 million mark again for this season in operation costs, they will end up having a cost per win of around $500,000, which would put them amongst the top 10 in cost per win this season. They still hopefully have more wins to add as the postseason goes on. At least, hopefully, from my perspective, Josh Odson. Picking Troy to beat Nebraska. I respect.
Just calls them like I sees them. I hope I'm wrong. And a lot of people
hope you're wrong too.
A lot of people are like, oh yeah, sure, you hope you're wrong. No, I do. I hope I'm wrong. I want everyone to win.
Yet you've canceled Creighton and you're picking Nebraska to lose in the first
It
half.
pains me to cancel a team. I don't know why I said it like that. It pains me to cancel
I think
a
I'm
team.
rubbing off on you. I think that's what it is. When I am disingenuous, I get very high in my voice. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Why would I want to do that?
Matt, do you want to stay at home and miss Big Ten Media Days?
No, I don't want to stay at home and miss Big Ten.
I thought you'd get all high and, I'll stay home. It's fine.
I do want to go to Chicago for Big Ten Media Days in football next year. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That's what we're talking about, right?
I would love to do that.
Little hobnobbing, little elbow rubbing.
Do you want to do Blue Jay overtime for the crowd? Of course. I want to do Blue Jay overtime. Why wouldn't I want to do Blue Jay overtime? I love doing Blue Jay overtime.
It's so late we won't be able to provide an overtime after Creighton's
shucks.
Crown.
All right, we have breaking news. We got to take a break.
Whoa.
We got to take a break. We're doing Dog of the Day next.
Oh, okay.
We're doing Dog of the Day next.
Okay, let's go.
We're doing Dog of the Day next, and we're doing What to Watch. We got to take a break. We're having Coach Scott Frost of Troy on the show at 1:30. What's his name? Scott Cross. I didn't say Scott Frost. I said Scott Cross. Go to break.
Now, back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Josh Hodson, go.
Oh, we have things to watch tonight.
Yes, we do.
Of which there are many. The first 4 is on television tonight. You should watch it. It would be a lot of fun.
I'm sorry. We got a tight deadline.
I don't know why I wasn't.
We got a head basketball coach coming up.
UMBC versus Howard, 5:40 on True TV or right here on 1620 The Zone, followed by Texas versus NC State at 8:15. Charles Barkley and Dick Vitale make their March Madness debut on the call of that night game tonight. Cavs Bucks 7 o'clock on NBC, followed by Sixers Nuggets on Peacock. NHL doubleheader on TNT. Wild Blackhawks at 6:30. Followed by Lightning Kraken at 9 out west. World Baseball Classic Finals, USA versus Venezuela, 7 o'clock tonight on Big Fox. Nebraska Baseball hosts Wichita State, 6 o'clock on ESPN+. And in honor of the holiday today, the original Leprechaun films are all on Peacock, including the original starring Jennifer Aniston pre-nose job.
Is that how we judge Jay Aniston now? Pre and post nose job?
Pretty obvious if you've seen Leprechaun.
Okay. I'm going to kill your bookmaker. I'm going to rip his throat out. All right? Here's how I'm going to do it. Winners.
Dog.
Winners.
Dog.
Winners.
Dog.
Winners.
Dog.
Winners.
Dog.
Yeah, you got to love the dogs, right?
Live version's pretty good, I got to say.
Where my dogs at? Yeah. Yeah. Where my dogs
Where
at?
my dogs
Where
at?
my dogs at?
Okay, you go. I'll do the where my dog's at, and you tell us the dog is at. Where my dog's at?
NC State
Where my
versus
dog's at?
Texas today.
Where my
Last time
dog's
these two teams played, it was 199 points were scored. The over-under is 158.5. We're going to outline that 163.5 over plus 156. Coach Scott Cross is coming up next here on Middays with Matt.
That's a Rough Riders roll.
Now back to Middays with Matt on 1620 The Zone.
Middays Matt live here on 1620 The Zone. We are a show pretty new here. We're in our infancy. We're about 3 months into doing this with myself, Matt McMaster, and my co-host Josh Hodson over here. But this, by far, probably is our biggest interview of this show. We welcome in the head coach of the Trojan basketball team, the man who, unfortunately for some of our listeners, if it were up to him, he would break the hearts of the people listening to these airwaves. It's Mr. Scott Cross, head coach Scott Cross of Troy basketball. Coach Cross, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Thank you for coming on. It's a real honor for us to have you on and talk to you before a very, very big matchup, not only just for you and your career, but Troy as well. The big story around here, Coach, is that the University of Nebraska has not won an NCAA tournament game in their history, but that can be said as well for Troy. You guys, the school has not won an NCAA tournament game as well, and this is your back-to-back appearance. Last season, you were in the NCAA tournament. You took on a team in Kentucky that has won plenty of NCAA tournament games. To get started here, Coach, I just want to ask you, what were the lessons that you learned from your NCAA tournament bid last season, and what are some of the things that you learned from that experience last year that you hope help you in this go around trying to pick up your first NCAA tournament win in school history?
Well, I know the nerves were probably greater last year. The majority of our guys this year on the roster played in that game, or at least experienced it in some form or fashion. The main lesson that I've already talked to our guys about is just, putting everything aside, like not worrying about who's in their DMs about transfer portal and how much money they can get or how many points they score or what mom or dad says or girlfriend, and just worry about, working together to get a great shot and then working together to get a stop defensively and just kind of narrow their focus a little bit. I think if we can do that, then we can be very, very competitive. It's not going to be an easy game. The more I watch them, I see why they've been so successful.
Mm-hmm.
They're extremely well coached. You look at them and you wouldn't think they would be a great defensive team, just like probably you look at us and you wouldn't think we'd be very good either. But, man, they're really, really good. They rotate. They're tough. They're super, super skilled. They run amazing stuff. The ball pops around. I mean, we'll have our hands full, but I think our guys will definitely give their best effort, and I think we'll play better than we did against Kentucky for sure.
Coach, I'm curious, what do you think the story of your team this season has been? What are the things that you guys have exemplified that have helped you lead you to this point to an NCAA tournament bid in Oklahoma City, taking on the Nebraska Cornhuskers?
Well, I'd say first, probably the most important thing, I think our guys are really, really well connected. When we're playing our best, we really do share the ball. We got guys that can pass it, dribble it, shoot it. So very skilled. I mean, it's honestly, it's like looking in the mirror. They've just played, at a higher level in a tougher conference, but very, very similar teams. And, we do a good job really crashing the offensive boards. I think that's a strength for this team. I think, we do a pretty good job rotating defensively, and, defensive rebounding has been an area that we have to continue to get better at, but our guys have done a good job taking care of the basketball. We're a high assist team. We shoot a lot of threes, and it's a fun basketball team to watch.
Coach, you guys suffered an injury, a very key injury on your roster. Theo Sang has been out the last 6 games, but even during that time, you guys had been able to rattle off 5 wins during his absence. First off, the right now, what is the status on Theo? Will he be able to go? And how have you seen guys like Jarrell Bellamy kind of step up and help you guys through this tough stretch without Sang being out there for you guys?
Yeah, I think Theo will be probable. He has been able to practice, so as long as he doesn't have any setbacks, I think we should be able to get a few minutes. I don't know how many minutes he can play, but just having him as a weapon because he can pick and pop. He's a really good shooter, so the defense has to respect it. It did take us a couple games to get adjusted to playing without him. JB has been phenomenal for us. His ability to set a ball screen and roll to the basket as high as he jumps, that it puts pressure on the defense and it makes them make decisions. And JD also has the ability to pick and pop, but because he's so athletic and such a good finisher off of the pick and roll passes, we do prefer to have him roll into the basket more than popping. But I think Theo should be okay and be able to play a few minutes for us, which will be nice to have him back.
You mentioned watching tape on Nebraska and obviously the defense and their rotations. And obviously that's something that we've talked a lot about a ton here in Nebraska, and the fact that there are a lot of teams that are kind of caught off guard when they play the defense for the first time. But specifically, any players that when you watch the Cornhuskers on tape that stick out to you, whether it be for Sanford or Mass, is there anyone that in particular you go, okay, we haven't seen a guy like that this season?
I put Sanford as a top 5 level shooter in the country from what I've seen. I mean, he can, his release is so quick. Yeah, it scares the out of me, having a guy that he touches the ball, he could shoot it, and then he's shooting like 45%. So that's really tough to guard. You got to make decisions, and they're so good at finding ways to get him the ball and run him off the screens. I mean, it's tough. Yeah, we'll have our hands full. I mean, Mass, he can pick and pop as well, but he also is very smart, can pass the ball. So he poses a lot of problems. Coach's son, Sam, he can absolutely shoot the ball. He's tough. He's gritty. He makes the right play. I mean, he's just a winner out there. They're good all the way around. So we'll have to play our best basketball, but I think, we've seen a lot of it, like defensively, because we play a similar style. So it's not going to be like just completely new when we go out there. It may be a little bit faster. They may be a little bit bigger, but, it's a similar style. So if our guys are moving the ball and making quick decisions, then, maybe we can find some holes in their defense.
We talked to Craig Stevenson yesterday of AL.com, and, we're looking at your roster, Coach, and looking at your statistics. You guys are a very effective offensive rebounding team, but you go ahead and look at your heights, right? It's not exactly like you guys have a bunch of 7-footers. You guys have 6'9", 6'8", 6'7" through the lineup, and so you're still able to have one of the top 25 offensive rebounding percentages in the country. Craig called it savvy, the way that you guys are able to rebound in the offensive boards. What goes into that? What goes into coaching that, and what goes into kind of your guys' strategy when it comes to crashing the offensive boards?
Yeah, I mean, we'll crash all 5 guys. So, probably why we're there more than anything is we have a guy named Thomas Dowd on our roster that's basically like Dennis Rodman. He's relentless going after the rebound. So I would say it's more him being relentless, but it's something that we do work on a daily basis. Made the decision 3 years ago to go to that style, and you can give up some things on the back end in terms of transition defense, but if it's done right, you don't give anything up. And so the biggest thing is getting your guys to buy into it and then getting them to do it right. And hopefully our guys will be locked in mentally and we'll do it right. And if we can, it definitely kind of muddies the game up for the opposing team.
Head coach of Troy men's basketball, Scott Cross, joining us here ahead of his team's first round matchup against the Nebraska Cornhuskers in Oklahoma City. Coach, we want to thank you so much for coming on Middays with Matt. We're going to give you one more question here before you let you go. We know you have a very busy schedule ahead of your game on Thursday. I'm going to give you the floor here. You're thinking in your hotel, you're talking to your assistant coaches, you're doing whatever, and you're thinking, all right, if we're going to win this game, we have to do this one thing right more than anything. We have to make sure that we lock down this aspect of the game to beat Nebraska. What is that aspect of the game, Coach?
I would probably say not let Sorensen just go off. I think that'll be the biggest key for us. If he's just getting free shots and, making 6-7 threes, it'll be really, really difficult.
Coach, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you doing this. We appreciate you coming on enemy airwaves, if you will, in the state of Nebraska, whom you're about to play. But thank you so much for doing that, and we wish you well, Coach.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Coach Scott Cross of Troy men's basketball.
Nailed it.
I didn't say Frost the second time. I did not. I said Cross. By the way, not Sorensen. He meant Sanford, by the way. I think he just got his last names confused. I think everybody can put.
That's why coaches call
clues.
Opposing players just by their number.
You know what? I thought he was going to do that.
Number 11's a real dog.
I almost gave him the floor to be like 51 or 21 or 1, because that's how you talk to coaches. That's how they do it. Nobody else is hitting 7 other threes with the last name that begins with an S on Nebraska's roster.
Many in the chat saying that Jake Sorensen is a walking bucket, though.
He definitely wasn't talking about Garcia, I'll tell you that. I can tell you a bunch of guys he wasn't talking about in Nebraska's roster. Wasn't Buchton Gel. By the way, Gene Honda just absolutely butchered Bearcase's name all game long at the United Center. Doug goes, they do not fear Nebraska. Let me say this. They won the Sun Belt. They've been in the NCAA tournament literally last year. It sounds like a coach, a 7-year guy, a 7-year coach of Troy, who is confident in his team and is confident in his ability. And we talked to Craig Stevenson yesterday. Scott Cross might end up being the next head coach at Georgia Tech. He might end up being a Power 5 head coach very soon here. Okay. So when you heard that interview and you heard him being confident, do you know why he sounds confident? Because he is confident. Because he's a damn good basketball coach. Because he knows what he's doing. And his team is on the verge of winning their first ever NCAA tournament game, something that they definitely want to accomplish. Same thing like Nebraska. So when we're talking about Nebraska having the stakes of this game and Nebraska, having that motivation to do something that no other team has done before, and they have a good coach that's confident in their team's ability to do that. Well, do you know who has that as well? Troy. Do you know who's very confident in their style of play? Troy. Do you know who does not care that Nebraska's on the verge of history? Do you know who does not care that Oklahoma City is going to be full of Husker football fans? Or Husker basketball fans, rather? Troy. They don't care. They don't give a damn. They're going to go out there and going to try and kick Nebraska's ass, just like Nebraska's going to try and kick their ass. I'm going to tell you right now, I think Nebraska's going to beat Troy. Plus 13.5 is not the number. This is going to be a tough game. This is going to be a war. This is going to be a highly contested basketball game between two teams who are very good in their conference, who are desperate, willing, and wanting to win an NCAA tournament game. So I don't think I anticipated, or anybody should have anticipated, Scott Cross coming on the show and being like, "Oh yeah, we're just happy to be here. Oh yeah, they're a really good team. It's going to be tough for us." No. They're going to OKC to win, and so is Nebraska. And I think it's going to be a really, really good game. At the end of the day, though, I think that Nebraska has. They have a connection, they have a chemistry, they have a culture, and they have a style of play in which, they've been a second half team a lot this season. And when the going has gotten tough, they've really buckled down and been able to win some big basketball games. Maybe more so earlier than late. But this is the moment. Really, ever since they beat Michigan State, Nebraska basketball has been waiting to play this game. This is the game they've been waiting to play. And they're going to play it on Thursday, and Troy's going to try and play it too. All righty. That has been a fun show of Middays with Matt. Tomorrow, we're going to lock in, baby. We're going to have some great interviews. We're going to talk to John Walker. We're going to have a wacky guest. We're going to have a big board. We're going to have everything.
Nothing like locking in on your last show of the week.
We were not locked in today. We kind of were. We were locked in. Today was the comedy show. Monday was the recap show. Today was the comedy show, which then got really serious with the head coach of Troy basketball. Tomorrow's the lock-in show. And then, we're off. Thank you for the 4-day weekend. Really appreciate it. Thank you for listening to Middays with Matt here on 1620 and 97.7 The Zone.